Chapter 599. Can't chase him away, haha, he's just a childhood friend. Pengzhan looked at his daughter deeply before continuing with a smile, but I heard that house and found a powerful backer after that, and the whole family moved to Donghai. Housen's business here has been taken care of by the eldest son of House, and Jian Wen left the country and only came back recently. Meng Yaro glared at Lin Yi. This guy didn't seem to care about her at all. He didn't seem to care about whether she and Jian Wen were childhood friends or not. Wasn't he worried about her at all? However, Lin Yi's next words disappointed Meng Yaro. Lin Yi didn't dwell on the topic of childhood friends. Lin Yi nodded. Uncle Chu, have you heard of a criminal organization that smuggles organs? They're called a kidney trafficking organization by the people. Kidney trafficking organization? Are you suspecting that Jian Wen has something to do with this organization? Pengzhan frowned, but after Hausen moved to Donghai, they started a business that was half black and half white. They changed their business path and accumulated a huge amount of wealth in a few short years. I'm a little suspicious. Otherwise, why would Jian Wen remove Zhong Pingliang's kidney? Lin Yi said, but this has nothing to do with us. As long as he doesn't disturb us, it's fine. That's right. It's best to stay away from people like this. Pengzhan nodded. Oh right, Yi, how did you get injured this time? I heard from Yaro Yaro that it was revenge for your classmate. Meng Yaro called him earlier, but Pengzhan didn't ask because it wasn't something that could be explained in a few words. He only asked if Lin Yi was all right. After learning that Lin Yi was recovering, Pengzhan came back first. He hadn't known Lin Yi for a long time, but he could tell that Lin Yi was a man with a sense of propriety. Judging from how he handled the bank attack, Guangbo's incident, and Meng Yao's kidnapping, Lin Yi was a man with a steady mind. Pengzhan wasn't too worried since Lin Yi didn't go to the hospital and chose to heal on his own, which meant that he had confidence in himself. Meng Yaro, on the other hand, was very vague about it, saying that Lin Yi was trying to avenge a female classmate. She didn't know that it was Lin Yi's girlfriend. Oh, I know. Shield Bro broke that Master Bing's leg out of anger because of his beauty. Yushu got really excited when the topic of violence came up. What a shame, I didn't get to see Shield Bro go berserk with my own eyes. Master Bing. Pengzhan, on the other hand, was taken aback as he looked at Lin Yi. The Master Bing Shu mentioned, is it Zhao Qibing? That's him. Lin Yi nodded. How did you piss him off? Pengzhan couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yi, this Master Bing isn't simple. I heard that he's the illegitimate son of some powerful person. He's very powerful, even Xihua is his subordinate. Uncle Chu, don't worry. This matter won't involve you. If Zhao Qibing comes looking for you, just tell him to come looking for me. Lin Yi said straightforwardly. Yi, what are you talking about? How can I just sit back and do nothing when you're in trouble? Pengzhan said angrily when he saw that Lin Yi misunderstood. Haha, Uncle Chu, you've misunderstood. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. What I mean is, if they come looking for me, I have the confidence to deal with them. If they come looking for you, wouldn't I have to deal with them myself? All right, but I won't just sit back and do nothing. Pengzhan nodded. Evidently, Lin Yi didn't want to continue this topic, so he didn't say anything else. After dinner, Lin Yi and Forbert went to clean up the tableware. Meng Yaro, on the other hand, was called to the room by Pengzhan. After all, the father and daughter hadn't seen each other for a while. There must be some secrets that needed to be said. Yaro Yaro, are you busy with your studies? Pengzhan sat on the sofa and asked casually. It's all right, Daddy. You know that I'm not that kind of nerd. Studying with Shu isn't stressful at all. It's just that I've been doing a little more exercises lately. Meng Yaro was extremely smart, and so was Yushu. The two of them passed through the 12th grade without any stress. That's good. Although we can pay for it if you want to go to a university, it's different if you go there yourself. Pengzhan nodded. Yeah, I know. I don't want people to look down on me because of my family, Meng Yaro said proudly. From this, it could be seen that the miss was a good person. She might be a little proud, but she was different from the other rich kids. Some rich kids were afraid that people wouldn't know about their family's wealth and power, and that they couldn't get into a university. Not only were they not ashamed of it, They were even proud of it. They would show off their family's power to others whenever they had time. Right, how's Lin Yi? He's by your side, going to school and living with you. Is he satisfied? Peng Zhan asked casually. Ah. Lin Yi. Meng Yarrow gritted her teeth at the mention of Lin Yi. Daddy, this person is too hateful. Hateful? How is he hateful? Peng Zhan paused. He's a womanizer. He's my follower, he should be by my side all the time, but he got himself a girlfriend in school, causing a huge uproar. Meng Yarrow said hatefully. This kind of person isn't suitable to be a follower. His private life is a mess. Right, he just went to avenge his girlfriend. This kind of follower who doesn't listen to orders is a heinous crime. Ah, that's hateful. Peng Zhan couldn't help but shake his head. It looks like this Lin Yi really is a hateful person. Yeah, Daddy, you think so too? Meng Yarrow couldn't help but be happy that her father was on her side. Yeah, you're right. Peng Zhan nodded and said solemnly, if that's the case, I'll fire him now. How can I let someone as despicable as him stay here without worry? I'll go right now. Yarrow, wait for Daddy. With that, Peng Zhan stood up and walked towards the door. Chapter 600. For shoes' sake no? Peng Zhan couldn't help but smile, but when he turned back, his expression turned into one of surprise. What's wrong with you again? Didn't you say that he's a sinner? How can you not fire a person like that? Because. That's right, that Lin Yi has a hard time finding a job, right? Maybe I'll just bear with it for a bit. Meng Yarrow found an excuse. Right, she pitied Lin Yi, so she didn't want to fire him. That's not a good idea, is it? I don't want my daughter to suffer. Peng Zhan said with a wave of his hand. Besides, there seems to be a lot of people looking for Lin Yi. It wasn't easy for me to hire him, so don't worry about him. I'll fire him and get you a new follower tomorrow. That's not okay either, Meng Yarrow said, panicking. Not okay either? Then why? Peng Zhan looked at his daughter, confused. Because. That's right, this Lin Yi guy is a bit of a jerk, but Shu and I are pretty familiar with him now. Meng Yarrow finally thought of an excuse. Daddy, you know that I don't like strangers coming to my house. It's hard for me to accept a stranger. Besides, Lin Yi's clean, he wouldn't steal anything. I wouldn't be at ease if it were someone I don't know. Haha, Yarrow, your worries aren't unreasonable, Peng Zhan said with a smile. But it's fine, I've already thought of a good candidate. Forbert has a junior who used to be a bodyguard, but his employer left the country and he doesn't have much to do. Forbert introduced him to me, so he's a reliable guy. No problem. I see. That's not good, is it? Meng Yarrow said instinctively. Why is it not good? Peng Zhan asked. Because. That's right, didn't I say that although I know this person well, I'm very repulsed by strangers. When Lin Yi first came, I couldn't get used to it for a while. What if I'm not used to the sudden change? It'll affect my studies, Meng Yarrow said. You don't have to worry about that. Aren't you familiar with Forbert? Let Forbert protect you, and let his juniors protect me. Peng Zhan smiled. You should be familiar with Forbert, right? You won't reject it, right? He watched you grow up. Forbert. Meng Yarrow felt that Forbert was acceptable, but she didn't know why she didn't want Lin Yi to leave. I think Lin Yi is better. Oh. Why was it still him? Why was that? Didn't you say he was annoying? Peng Zhan was even more confused. Man. Actually, it's because that Shu has a crush on Lin Yi. Shu would be sad if Lin Yi left. Meng Yarrow thought. She didn't want Lin Yi to leave because of that damned girl, Shu. It wasn't a secret that she had a crush on Lin Yi. What? Peng Zhan's eyes widened. He had expected some reasons, but he didn't think that Meng Yarrow would come up with this one. Shu had a crush on Lin Yi? Why was it Shu? Wasn't it Yarrow? No one knew a daughter better than a father. Peng Zhan watched Meng Yarrow grow up, and he could see the changes in her and her attitude towards Lin Yi. His instincts told him that his daughter had fallen in love with Lin Yi, but he wasn't too sure. So he decided to talk to his daughter privately and see what she was thinking. Firing Lin Yi was just an excuse to test his daughter's feelings, but Meng Yao's reasons were getting more and more reasonable. In the end, it even involved Yu Shu. Peng Zhan was a little confused. Shu has a crush on Lin Yi? Doesn't Lin Yi have a girlfriend already? Peng Zhan asked. Yeah, that's why I say that Lin Yi is the annoying one. He has a girl as beautiful as Shu at home, but he still goes out and flirts with other girls. Meng Yaro said, Dad, don't you think he's annoying? That's true. Peng Zhan couldn't help but find it funny. This was the reason why his daughter was scolding Lin Yi. That's why, for Shu's sake, I'll endure it. Don't fire him, Meng Yaro said. But, Lin Yi has a girlfriend already, what about Shu? Peng Zhan asked curiously. In fact, he wanted to see his daughter's attitude. She's always thinking about being someone else's mistress, so it shouldn't be a big problem, Meng Yaro said. Mistress? Peng Zhan shook his head, really? I don't know, she's always acting like a lunatic, I don't know if it's real or not. Meng Yaro shook her head, Dad, don't worry about this, let Shu handle it herself. Alright, I won't worry about it then. Peng Zhan smiled and stood up, alright, it's late, I'll leave first. You guys rest early. Although it's a weekend tomorrow, don't stay up late. Okay. Meng Yaro breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, she wouldn't fire Lin Yi. Although it was a weekend tomorrow, Peng Zhan still had work to do, so he left with Forbert first. Lin Yi also cleaned up the cutlery, and just when he was free, his phone rang. Lin Yi took out his phone and looked at it. It was Tang Yun. Hello, Tang Yun. Lin Yi picked up the phone. You're back at the hospital? Yeah, not long ago. Mom let me eat something, and now she's with Dad, so I'm calling you. Tang Yun's voice was very gentle, like a wife missing her husband. Haha, I'll go see you tomorrow. The wound on your head should be almost healed, Lin Yi smiled. Okay. Tang Yun touched her forehead, and it didn't hurt at all. It seemed like it was working. It's so late, why aren't you resting? What's the matter, calling me? Lin Yi was a bit confused. In the past, Tang Yun wouldn't take the initiative to call him if there wasn't anything. Are you at Meng Yao's house? Tang Yun hesitated and asked. Yeah, I'm here. Lin Yi didn't hide and told the truth. Oh. Tang Yun actually knew that Lin Yi was at Meng Yao's house, but she couldn't help but want to confirm it. Chapter 601. Abnormal, yeah. I believe you. Tang Yun didn't feel good about it, but she chose to believe in Lin Yi. If Lin Yi really did have something going on with them, then there was no point in stopping him. If there wasn't anything going on, then what was she thinking about? I'll tell you the details when we meet tomorrow. It's not convenient to talk on the phone today. You should rest early. Lin Yi saw Yu Shu tiptoeing over as he spoke. Her footsteps were light, but how could she hide from Lin Yi's eyes and ears? Yeah, okay. Tang Yun replied obediently. Before she hung up, she gathered her courage and said, I love you. With that, Tang Yun hung up the phone, embarrassed. Lin Yi paused. He smiled when he saw that the phone was already hung up. It was the first time Tang Yun said something like that, right? Yu Shu was a little disappointed. She saw that Lin Yi was talking on the phone, so she came over carefully to eavesdrop. She'd be living up to her title of Spy Shu 007, but Lin Yi didn't give her a chance. He hung up the phone quickly. Meng Yaro had just sent Peng Zhan and Forbert off. She closed the door and came back to see Lin Yi hanging up the phone. Who were you calling? Meng Yaro wasn't someone who liked to poke her nose into other people's business, but she didn't know why she asked. Tang Yun. Lin Yi answered straightforwardly. Oh, what did you guys talk about? Meng Yaro asked casually. Ah. Lin Yi paused. The miss cared about what he said to Tang Yun. Don't misunderstand. Meng Yaro blushed when she saw Lin Yi's expression. What I mean is, we're in a critical situation right now. There are people who want to do something to me, and there are people who want to do something to you. I just want to confirm if it's really Tang Yun on the phone. What if it's a bad guy pretending to be Tang Yun? Meng Yaro couldn't even speak coherently in her panic. Lin Yi was even more stunned. Did the eldest miss say these words? Why did it sound like what Yu Shu said? Could it be that the two of them had been together for too long and were assimilated? However, he still said, she didn't say anything. She just said that she was in the hospital. Oh. Meng Yaro listened to Lin Yi and didn't continue asking. If Tang Yun says anything suspicious in the future, you have to tell me in advance. Maybe there's some conspiracy behind it. For example, if Tang Yun wanted to have sex with you, don't agree. From what I can see, Tang Yun is a very pure girl. She can't do something like that. There must be a reason behind it. Meng Yaro was shocked by her own words. What the hell was she talking about? It must be because he didn't sleep tonight and was too sleepy, so he started saying some strange things. Lin Yi was a little speechless, but he still nodded. The people tonight were not normal. Yarowang was indeed Yarowang. Chibing's legs were quickly reconnected, and the medicine was applied as well. As for his face, Dr. Kang's golden wound medicine was applied, so Yarowang didn't have to worry about it. Uncle Zhu's situation wasn't so good. Even Yarowang couldn't help but shake his head after seeing it. Yaro bro, how is it? Uncle Zhu could tell that Yarowang was in a difficult position. Zhu bro, to tell you the truth, the situation isn't good. Yarowang sighed. You used your full strength to fight with that person, and the other person used his full strength too. That person wanted to continue attacking Master Bing, so I had no choice but to use my full strength. Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. Yaro bro, just try your best. It doesn't matter if you can recover to your peak, it's not a problem for you to stay alive, but as for recovering your strength, it depends on whether the head is willing to use treasures to nourish you. Yarowang said. If the elixirs keep up, I should be able to recover in half a year or so. But it'll be hard for me to break through again in this lifetime, unless there's some sort of miracle. I don't think about breaking through. It's good enough that I can recover. But, why would the head use so many treasures for me? Uncle Zhu didn't think too much about it. He was sent to the common world to follow Master Bing because he had no hope of breaking through. Brother Zhu, you don't have to worry. You got injured because of Master Bing. The head of the house won't mistreat you. Yarowang said. Zihua has already asked the head of the house. I believe there will be news soon. Indeed, Zhao Guangyin had sent news that Yarowang could use some of the elixirs in the house to save Uncle Zhu. He did this because Uncle Zhu had saved Chibing's life at a critical moment. If he mistreated Uncle Zhu, who would dare to work for him in the future? Wouldn't that be disappointing? So, Zhao Guangyin naturally wouldn't do something as stupid as killing the donkey when it was no longer of use. The other news was for Zhao Chibing. Zihua ran into Zhao Chibing's room excitedly. Master Bing, good news. Oh, what good news? Zhao Chibing didn't feel much pain anymore. His mind was filled with thoughts of revenge against Lin Yi. He didn't dare to act recklessly since there was no news from his father. Boss, we've found out that Lin Yi has nothing to do with any of the hidden houses. After the house sent out the wanted order, no one responded. This means that Lin Yi doesn't belong to any of the hidden houses. Zihua was still used to calling Zhao Guangyin boss instead of head of the house. This was because Zihua was one of House Zhao's business representatives in the common world. He was responsible for providing wealth to House Zhao. Because of his business, Zihua was used to calling Zhao Guangyin boss. Is that so? That's great. Since he doesn't come from any of the hidden houses, there's no pressure to deal with him. Zhao Chibing laughed happily. Finally, we can kill him. Master Bing, don't be too happy yet. Boss said that although he doesn't belong to any of the hidden houses, we shouldn't do anything to him. We should at least investigate his background. Zihua said. For example, if he's alone, if he has other disciples from the same sect, or something like that. We can avoid unnecessary trouble if we kill Lin Yi. Chapter 602. Zihua's probing. Yes, Master Bing, I'll go ask Pengzhan about Lin Yi's background in a bit, Zihua said quickly. Hurry up, if Pengzhan doesn't listen, give him a beating. We have to figure out Lin Yi's background as soon as possible. I can't wait to kill him, Chibing urged. Don't worry, Master Bing, I know what to do. Zihua nodded as he wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. Also, what happened to my Chibing skyscraper? Chibing remembered the skyscraper that Lin Yi had flattened, and he couldn't help but feel humiliated. He had just completed his skyscraper, and now it was flattened by Lin Yi. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Not only did he lose face in front of so many rich kids, but it also affected the progress of Chibing real estate. They didn't even have an office space, so how could they build a building? Although the demolition work wasn't delayed, there wasn't a single worker when it came to building a building. How could they develop it? The Chibing skyscraper is completely destroyed, there's no hope of repairing it. Zihua complained. This skyscraper cost him and Gubang a lot of money, and now it was flattened just as it was completed. This was a huge loss. Destroyed. Can't you build a new one? Now, immediately. Build me a new skyscraper. I want to see a brand new Chibing skyscraper before I leave the ward. Chibing was panicking. Without the skyscraper, it would be a huge loss of face. Master Bing, how can a skyscraper be built that quickly? Isn't this a joke? A skyscraper is built from the ground, and Rome isn't built in a day. Zihua smiled awkwardly. Didn't I give you some time? I'll be able to leave the house in a wheelchair in another 10 or 20 days. You have to build me a skyscraper. Chibing gave the mission. Master Bing, how can I build a skyscraper in 10 or 20 days? Isn't this making things difficult for me? Zihua smiled bitterly. 10 or 20 days is more than enough. I saw a video on the internet where a skyscraper was built in a few days. If others can do it, why can't you? Are you trying to brush me off? Zhao Chibing glared at him and barked. I'll give it a try then. Zihua had no choice but to bite the bullet and ask around to see if he could find the video and hire a skilled construction team to build the skyscraper. Go do it. Chibing waved his hand impatiently, sending Zihua away. Zihua walked out of the floating cloud, a little depressed. He wasn't the owner of the bar anymore, and everyone here had the final say. Master Bing was the owner's son, so of course he was more powerful than Zihua. However, he couldn't afford to offend Uncle Zhu and the Medicine King. Now, he had become an errand boy. Zihua bro, what's wrong? Su Jiaonong asked as he saw Zihua walk out with a solemn face. Stop asking. Let's go to Pengzhan Industries with me. Zihua decided to solve Lin Yi's problem first. This was a little easier than building the skyscraper. Even if the skyscraper couldn't be completed on time, he would at least be able to answer to Master Bing. All right. Su Jiaonong didn't ask much and got in the car with Zihua, heading to Pengzhan Industries. Pengzhan was a little surprised by Zihua's arrival, but he didn't have too many questions. After all, he had heard from Lin Yi last night that the person Lin Yi provoked was Zhao Chibing, so Zihua was Zhao Chibing's underling. It wasn't strange for him to be here. Boss Li, may I know what brings you here? Pengzhan didn't bother with pleasantries. After all, they didn't have any business dealings, and Gubang's scheme against him was planned by Zihua. So, Pengzhan didn't even need to pretend to be polite to Zihua. Mr. Chu, there's no need to say more about what I do. We don't have a good relationship, but that's fine, Zihua said faintly. We'll let bygones be bygones for now. Gubang has failed, and I have no intentions of dealing with you. Oh. Then why are you here, Boss Li? Pengzhan didn't find it strange that Zihua was talking about his doings without hesitation. Everyone knew what was going on. Let's not beat around the bush. Mr. Chu, you hired a bodyguard named Lin Yi? Zihua wanted to complete Chibing's task as soon as possible, so he didn't waste time talking to Pengzhan. He came up with a strong stance. As far as Zihua was concerned, he wasn't Lin Yi's opponent, but he was a big shot in Songshan. Pengzhan was just a businessman, after all, and there was no way he could be compared to someone like Zihua who was tainted with the underworld. That's right. Is there a problem? Pengzhan frowned. As expected, Zihua was here for Lin Yi. Haha, I do have something I need to trouble you with, Mr. Chu. I'm sure you've heard about my Master Bing being injured, right? Zihua asked faintly. What are you trying to say? Pengzhan asked back. Master Bing doesn't have any masters by his side. I wonder if you're willing to part with Lin Yi, Mr. Chu? Zihua was using a bit of a trick this time. He was testing if Lin Yi was injured, how serious his injuries were, and if his kung fu was still intact. "Oh, I have a contract with Mr. Lin Yi," Peng Zhan said flatly. "I see." Zihua cursed Peng Zhan for being a sly old fox. He thought that if Lin Yi was injured, Peng Zhan would say that Lin Yi wasn't fit to protect others anymore, or if Lin Yi lost his kung fu, Peng Zhan would say that Lin Yi couldn't protect others anymore. But Peng Zhan was talking about the contract. What did that mean? Was it because Lin Yi still had kung fu, and Peng Zhan wasn't willing to let him go? Or was it because of the contract that Peng Zhan didn't fire Lin Yi because of Lin Yi's kung fu? There was no tone to his words, and Zihua couldn't tell what Peng Zhan was trying to say. Chapter 603. Stalked again, haha. I'm afraid I won't be able to. Peng Zhan said faintly. Is there anything else, Boss Li? Peng Zhan hadn't said anything, and his words had been conveying his rejection of Zihua, as well as the fact that he wanted to keep his distance from Zihua. But even a wise man could make a mistake. He never would have thought that Zihua would be able to glean some information from his rejection. Peng Zhan had said that he wouldn't be able to invite him, not that he wouldn't be able to invite him. This meant that Lin Yi was probably alone now, and he didn't have anyone from the same sect. If that was the case, then there wouldn't be any worries when dealing with Lin Yi. Zihua was overjoyed. Peng Zhan, you old fox. You didn't see this coming, did you? I'm not here to poach you, nor am I here to hire another bodyguard for Master Bing. I'm here to get some information. Zihua didn't stay any longer after getting the answer he wanted. He left immediately, and Peng Zhan didn't bother sending him off, either. He smiled coldly as he watched Zihua walk out of the office. Zihua hated Peng Zhan. In fact, he would have gone after Peng Zhan even if this hadn't happened. He just didn't have the time yet. It'd be a great achievement if House Chu's wealth fell into House Zhao's hands. Although the so-called hidden aristocratic families were mysterious ancient martial arts families with absolute masters, their wealth was actually not as great as those ordinary aristocratic families. This was because they pursued different things. The hidden aristocratic families pursued the pinnacle of martial arts, while those aristocratic families pursued power and money. The two were fundamentally different, but hidden noble houses had a strong reputation as well. Not only did they have a lot of masters, but they also had a lot of medical experts. This was what the noble houses yearned for. Although it wasn't the ancient times where firearms existed, guns could still be a threat to normal people. But for real masters, masters above the golden class, they could easily dodge bullets and kill people before they could even open fire. Hence, guns were nothing to an expert. Of course, cannons, rockets, and armored cars were a different story. Even the mafia houses wouldn't be able to get their hands on these things, let alone normal noble houses. Hidden houses, on the other hand, needed money in order to maintain their development. This was also why Zihua was making money outside. Zihua had been drooling over Peng Zhan Industries for a long time even without Master Bing. After leaving Peng Zhan Industries, Zihua gave Master Bing a call and told him the good news. As for how to deal with Lin Yi, he'd have to discuss it with Uncle Zhu and Yarawang. He wasn't in a rush, and it was enough as long as he knew that Lin Yi didn't have any background or support. Zihua felt a lot more relaxed now that he was done with this matter. He immediately went to contact the people who were building the skyscraper. It wasn't possible to build the skyscraper in a few days, but 20 days of hard work should be enough to complete it. However, the wages were doubled. The price of building a house at night was naturally different from building a house during the day, but Zihua didn't have a choice. Master Bing had given him a death order, and if he didn't carry it out, he might anger Master Bing. Zihua had no choice but to use the money he was planning to give to Guangyin. It was for Guangyin's son anyway, and Guangyin wouldn't say anything even if he knew about it. Today, Lin Yi wanted to visit Tang Yun at the hospital, but he was called up by Meng Yaro and Yu Shu early in the morning. Lin Yi, accompany us to the bookstore to buy some revision materials today, Meng Yaro said. Lin Yi suspected that the miss heard that he was going to visit Tang Yun at the hospital yesterday. Otherwise, why would she suddenly want to buy revision materials? One had to know that Meng Yaro and Yu Shu spent most of their time at home during the weekends. What, do you need something? Meng Yaro really didn't want to make things difficult for Lin Yi. Her father's words yesterday made Meng Yaro even more determined to get a good result. However, under the exam-oriented education system, it was impossible to get a good result without revision materials. No matter how smart you were, you couldn't avoid the brain-twisting questions. Only practice makes perfect, and you could deal with all kinds of changes. It's nothing. Lin Yi could only accompany the miss to the bookstore. Then why don't you hurry up and pack? Meng Yao's tone and attitude had returned to normal. She didn't have the abnormal emotions from yesterday. This made Lin Yi let out a sigh of relief. It seemed that he had thought too much. The miss was still the miss from before. After Lin Yi packed up, he left with Meng Yaro and Yu Shu. On the way, he sent a text to Tang Yun, telling her that he would visit her at the hospital in the afternoon. Tang Yun didn't think much after receiving the text. It was already midnight when they returned to the hospital yesterday. It was only 10 in the morning now, and Tang Yun hadn't woken up yet. She thought that Lin Yi would need to sleep a little longer. Which bookstore? Lin Yi drove the car out of the villa area and asked the miss in the back seat. Let's go to Shuahai bookstore. The one near the school. Meng Yaro thought about it and said. Okay. Lin Yi nodded, but his eyes fell on the rearview mirror of the car. There was a black MPV following them after they left the district. Lin Yi had seen this MPV before. Who else could it be if it wasn't Zihua's? He didn't expect that Zihua, who had been depressed for a long time, would start to play surveillance again. Didn't he know that his car had been exposed once? In fact, Zihua didn't want to hide from Lin Yi. He sent people to the villa area just to see how Lin Yi was doing. Yu Chu dialed Zihua's number as he sat in the black MPV. Zihua bro, it's me, Yu Chu. Yu Chu said hurriedly. I saw Lin Yi. Oh. Zihua had just finished his business. He hired a construction team to redesign the damaged building, and they were ready to start tomorrow. Zihua, on the other hand, returned to the floating cloud bar and received a call from Yu Chu the moment he entered. He'd sent Yu Chu to keep an eye on Lin Yi. He didn't know how Lin Yi was doing right now, and Zihua couldn't get anything out of Peng Zhan. So, he sent Yu Chu out to keep an eye on Lin Yi's villa. Where did you see him? How's Lin Yi? Zihua asked. Chapter 604. Are you sure you're not mistaken? What dash? Zihua was so shocked he almost threw the phone away. What? What did you say? Lin Yi's driving? Out with Meng Yaro and the others? Yeah, what's wrong with that? Yu Chu was just a small fry, and he didn't know much about these secretive things. He knew that Lin Yi had crippled Master Bing's legs, but he didn't know much about Lin Yi's strength or Uncle Zhu's. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Lin Yi's driving? Zihua asked in disbelief. Nope, I even took a picture with my phone when they came out. I'll send it to you later, Yu Chu said with certainty. He didn't know why Zihua was so suspicious. Lin Yi's like a normal person. There's nothing wrong with him? Zihua asked, unwilling to give up. Yeah, his driving. What's wrong with that? Yu Chu replied. Then send me the picture. Zihua frowned. This was strange. According to Uncle Zhu and Yarowang, shouldn't Lin Yi be lying on the bed, about to die? How was he still able to go out with Meng Yaro and Yu Shu? He could even drive. Okay, should I continue to follow them? Zhong Yuzhou asked. You don't have to. You can leave now. Zihua only wanted to check on Lin Yi's condition. He wasn't interested in what Lin Yi was doing at all. Oh, all right. I'll be leaving then. Yu Chu replied. He sent Lin Yi's picture to Zihua and told the driver to stop following the car. And so, just when Lin Yi was wondering why Zihua had sent someone to follow him and Lin Yi was about to shake them off, the car behind him disappeared after a turn. Lin Yi shook his head. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered with them since they weren't following them anymore. Zihua wouldn't be able to do much anyway. Zihua received a picture from Zhong Yuzhou right after he hung up. It was a picture of Lin Yi walking out of the villa with Meng Yaro and Yu Shu as if nothing had happened, and the three of them were in the car. The last few pictures were a little blurry, evidently taken when Zhong Yuzhou was following Lin Yi in the car. Only the rear of Meng Yao's Audi S5 could be seen clearly. Zihua didn't dare to delay and hurriedly ran into the back of the bar. Chibing was playing with his phone while Yarowang and Uncle Zhu were discussing something in a low voice. Master Bing, Uncle Zhu, Mr. Yarrow, I have big news, Zihua said in a panic. Big news? What big news? Master Bing put his phone aside when he saw Zihua. He was reading a web novel called How to Pick Up Girls, imagining himself becoming the main character in the novel and dominating the world. Lin Yi doesn't seem to be injured. According to my men, he's out with Meng Yarrow and Yushu right now. Lin Yi is driving, he's no different from a normal person, Zihua said. Impossible. Chibing didn't say anything, but Uncle Zhu spoke first. I exchanged a palm strike with him, I know what's going on between us. How can he be fine? Uncle Zhu, I don't think it's possible either, but this is the picture my men just sent me. Take a look. Zihua smiled bitterly and passed the phone to Uncle Zhu. Uncle Zhu took the phone and looked at it. Yarowang, who was at the side, followed. This. Uncle Zhu's eyes widened as he looked at the image on the phone, as if he had just seen a ghost. Was this taken just now? How is that possible? With such a heavy injury, I don't even know if I can stand up and walk. Even without the elixir and Yarrow Bro's care, I might not even be able to talk. How can this Lin Yi leave the house? Yawang's face was also filled with disbelief. He felt that the photo on the phone was too unbelievable. It can't be, right? Could it be that Lin Yi isn't injured at all? Is he not a mystic class master? Is he a higher class master? That's impossible. Uncle Zhu shook his head. When we exchanged palms, I could clearly feel his strength. He's at the early phase of the mystic class. Besides, if he was stronger, he wouldn't have ignored my warning and attacked Master Bing directly. Since he chose to retreat, it means that he didn't have the confidence to fight me head-on. Besides, it's only when our strengths are on par that I can survive. If the opponent's strength was too high, I wouldn't even be here talking right now. I would have died a long time ago. But, the fact is that Lin Yi really came out. Let's not talk about what's possible or not, it's already possible, Zihua said helplessly. Uncle Zhu, Mr. Yarowang, if Lin Yi was injured, he wouldn't be able to get up, right? That's not for sure. Yarowang shook his head. There's only one possibility: he lost his strength, so he's back to normal. Lost his strength? Zihua paused, not understanding what Yarowang meant. Yes, he lost his strength. Yarowang nodded. When a master is injured to the point of death, there are two ways to save his life. The first is to use a large amount of rare and precious elixirs to nourish himself. Of course, you also need a master who knows how to heal with pure energy. Otherwise, the pure energy in the world wouldn't be enough to heal the injury. The second way is if you don't meet the requirements of the first method, you can only lose your strength in order to save your life. Ah! So you're saying that after you save your life, your strength will be gone? Zihua asked, surprised. You could say that. Yarowang nodded. Could it be that Lin Yi lost his strength? Zihua mumbled to himself. The first method has too many requirements. It needs a treasure of heaven and earth, as well as a master with medical expertise. Lin Yi probably won't be able to find all of these things. It's possible that he'd even dispelled his arts to save his life. In the first method, you don't have to meet these two requirements at the same time. It's just that if you have both, you'll be able to recover faster. If you lack one, you'll be able to recover, but at a slower rate. Yarowang said with a wave of his hand. I don't think Lin Yi has these two requirements, so it's possible that he chose to lose his strength. Zihua said. Chapter 605. Yawang's analysis: of course not. Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. If it were me, I'd rather die than lose my strength. Only cultivators like us know how hard it is to cultivate. Strength is built up bit by bit, and losing it to a normal person is worse than dying. Even if there's a sliver of hope, you can't lose your strength. You're right. Yarowang nodded. That's why, if Lin Yi isn't an idiot, he wouldn't lose his strength. Or, at least, he wouldn't lose it unless he had no other choice. Or maybe he had no other choice. Zihua frowned. Right, could it be that he's recovered his strength? Recovered his strength? Yarowang and Uncle Zhu both took in a cold breath. After all, Zihua's assumption was far too bold. It wasn't impossible, but it was too idealistic. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Sihua asked, curious at the exaggerated expressions on Yarowang and Uncle Zhu's faces. The hypothesis you're suggesting is possible, Yarowang said. But that's only in an ideal situation. First, if he's in a blessed place with thick pure energy, it's not impossible for him to recover his strength in a day. As long as there's enough pure energy to absorb, recovering his strength wouldn't be a problem. Of course, I don't know if there's such a place on Earth, at least, I've never heard of it. That sounds like a fairyland from a TV show. It doesn't seem to exist anymore. Sihua shook his head. Other than that, the second method is to have a master from the same sect imbue Lin Yi's body with his own qi, and that's how he can recover quickly. However, this method had its flaws. First of all, it had to be an expert from the same sect. Because different sects had different cultivation methods, the true qi in their bodies was also different. If it was forced, it would only result in death. Secondly, while it could save someone, it wouldn't be a good thing for the master. Giving away the pure energy he'd worked so hard for would cause his strength to plummet, and he might even lose a level. I don't think even blood brothers or father and son would use this method. Because the higher the level, the harder it was to cultivate. In order to save a mystic class master's life, the rescuer must be at least an earth class master. But if he gave his true qi to the rescuer, then the rescuer might also drop to mystic class. If he wanted to ascend to earth class again, he would need a lot of hard work. No one would do such a thing, Medicine King said. I see. Sihua nodded. So that means that Lin Yi really did lose his strength. Or was there really no hope for him to recover? I've heard from Pengzhan that Lin Yi doesn't have any friends, and that he's alone. There's no one to save him, and he doesn't have any treasures to help him. If he doesn't disperse his strength, he'll die. That's hard to say. Yarowang shook his head. In short, I think this matter is very strange. Yeah. This Pengzhan really doesn't know what's good for him. I've been beating around the bush for a long time, but I can't get anything out of him, Sihua said angrily. All right, stop studying Lin Yi. What's the point of studying him? Whether or not he recovers, I'll deal with him. Master Bing was getting impatient. Since he doesn't have anyone to back him up, I'll make sure he dies in front of me. And this Pengzhan, does it mean that he's going to protect Lin Yi no matter what? I wasn't planning to deal with him immediately, but since he doesn't know what's good for him, then I'll deal with him as well. That's true. Sihua nodded after hearing Master Bing's words. Mr. Yarrow, Uncle Zhu, how do we deal with Lin Yi? Lil Brother Zhu's condition won't be able to recover within a year and a half, so don't worry about him, Yarowang said. But, even if Lil Brother Zhu recovers, I don't recommend fighting Lin Yi head-on. Oh! Yarowang, aren't you a mystic as well? You're not afraid of Lin Yi, are you? You and Uncle Zhu working together can't take down Lin Yi? Chibin asked. Master Bing, I'm a mystic, yes, but my mystic class is a bit special. Yarowang smiled bitterly. Although I'm a mystic as well, I used medicine to increase my strength. It's different from a master who uses pure qi from heaven and earth to increase his strength. Moreover, the mental cultivation method that I'm cultivating is of a supplementary nature. Its main purpose is to save people and not attack. So that's how it is. Master Bing nodded, but he felt wronged. If that's the case, then how do we deal with Lin Yi? Can't we do anything to him now that he's a normal person? That's not true. No one can be sure if Lin Yi is a normal person or not. What if he has an ancient miracle medicine? Eating one would be equivalent to half a year's worth of recovery. Who knows, he might even recover his strength. Yarowang shook his head. There's such a miracle medicine. Chibin's eyes widened. The world is big, nothing is too strange. Yarowang said. Although it sounds a bit scary, I've read about similar medicines in some ancient books. They are called the Great Recovery Pill and the Minor Recovery Pill. The Great Recovery Pill allows an injured person to recover to their peak in an instant, and the Minor Recovery Pill allows the injury to heal quickly, but the strength has to be recovered bit by bit. Of course, this miracle medicine is only a legend. It's hard to say whether or not it exists. But what if Lin Yi has it? If we fight him head-on, We'll be at a disadvantage. Makes sense. Zihua nodded. Fuck, then wouldn't we be holding back? Chibin was very unhappy after hearing Yawang's analysis. Wasn't this toying with them? Why don't we deal with Pengzhan first? Zihua suddenly had an idea. Since we can't deal with Lin Yi directly, why don't we start with Pengzhan? We can also test Lin Yi's strength this way. If Lin Yi really recovers, he'll definitely jump out. If Lin Yi is a normal person, he won't be able to get involved. That's right. Chibin was energized. That's right, we can deal with Pengzhan first. Let's think about how to deal with him. Chapter 606. Chapter 606, ruin his reputation. That's right, you guys take a break first. Zihua, what do you think we should do next? Chibing asked. Chem. Zihua fell into deep thought. We should choose to strike Pengzhan's weakest point, where it's the easiest to hit him. That way, we'll be able to quickly test out Pengzhan's bottom line, and see if Lin Yi has recovered his strength. Fuck, it'd be great if we could deal with both Pengzhan and Lin Yi at the same time. I can't take it anymore. Chibing's temper had been pretty bad these days after all. Lying in bed with a broken leg was a very uncomfortable thing to do. Pengzhan Industries has a lot of businesses. We should target the weakest one, the one that's the easiest to deal with, Zihua said in a deep voice. Master Bing didn't disturb him. After all, Chibing wasn't as familiar with Pengzhan Industries as Zihua was. He didn't even know what kind of businesses Pengzhan Industries had. He could only wait for Zihua to come up with a plan. Su Jiaonong, come in. Zihua couldn't think of anything by himself, so he called Su Jiaonong in. But Su Jiaonong wasn't a very skillful man. He wasn't even as good as Zihua when it came to scheming. The two discussed for a long time, but couldn't come up with a plan. It pissed Chibing off. You two pieces of trash. You can't even do something this simple. Keep thinking. I don't believe that we can't deal with one Pengzhan. Master Bing, please calm down, Jiaonong said carefully. Zihua bro, why don't we call Jin Gubang and Zhong Fabai over? Jin Gubang used to work for Pengzhan Industries, and he knows them far better than we do. Plus, Zhong Fabai seems to be quite a devious. There's strength in numbers. What do you think, Master Bing? Alright, Zihua, hurry up and call Jin Gubang and Fabai, tell them to come over. Master Bing agreed without hesitation. He didn't want to wait any longer. He wanted to take revenge on Lin Yi. Jin Gubang and Zhong Fabai heard that Master Bing wanted to see them, so they rushed over immediately. They knew that Lin Yi had injured Uncle Zhu and crippled Master Bing's leg, but they didn't think that Lin Yi could live for long. Who was Master Bing? Lin Yi actually broke his opposite leg. Why would Master Bing let him off? So when Zihua told them about Master Bing's plan to deal with Lin Yi and Pengzhan Industries, they knew that their guess was correct. I'm good at dealing with Pengzhan, Gubang said. If we're talking about something that can attract the attention of the media and ruin Pengzhan Industries' reputation, we can start with the schools. School? Fourth school? Zihua paused. That's right, it's the school. Gubang said, nowadays, if something happens to the students in the school, it'll be a big deal. The media won't stop until they're dead, and the public's opinion will be one-sided. They'll say that Pengzhan is a black-hearted businessman who dared to target the students. Even if they want to salvage the situation, it'll depend on what it is. What we need to do is create an accident that they can't salvage, and we'll be able to achieve our goal. That's right. Zihua's eyes lit up. That's right, if something were to happen to Pengzhan's school, the parents wouldn't just let it go. It'd be a headache. But, what could cause a school to go wrong? Continue, what should we do? Chibing nodded approvingly. It seemed that he didn't take Gubang in for nothing. If we cause a school to go wrong, naturally, we'll cause problems for the students. Gubang said. For example, if a building collapses and kills a few students, or if a gang goes to the school and kills a few students, or if there's a teacher who's a monster, hitting or even molesting the students, etc., these are all things that can destroy a school's reputation in no time. But, what you're saying isn't very realistic. Chibing frowned. A building collapses. Do you dare be like Lin Yi and destroy a building? If it's a gang, do you want our people to do it? Wouldn't we be dragged into this? As for the monster teacher, don't even think about it. It's basically impossible. No matter how much money you give them, they won't risk their lives to commit crimes. Gubang laughed dryly, a little embarrassed. I'm just giving examples. Let's continue our discussion. Master Bing, I wonder if this Mr. Yarawang is an expert in poison as well as saving lives. Fabai, who'd been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. Poison? Of course, Yarawang is an expert in all kinds of pharmacology. Poison is a piece of cake for him. Chibing nodded. Haha, Master Bing, why don't we poison them? If a student gets food poisoning, it won't be a small matter. Fabai said, food poisoning. This can be attributed to the school's poor supervision, or it can be twisted to say that Pengjan Industries is too evil. They sold expired junk food to the students and caused the students to be poisoned. If they're not careful, they might even poison Lin Yi or Meng Yaro to death. That would be killing two birds with one stone. Brilliant. How wonderful. Old Zhong, you're not bad at all. Zhao Chibing listened to Fabai's idea and praised it. That's a good idea, let's do it. Yarawang, make a poison as soon as possible and poison the cafeteria of 4th High. Poison is easy, but who's going to do it? Moreover, if he poisoned it, would it be discovered by others? That's the key. Yarawang was naturally an expert in poison, but that wasn't what he was concerned about. That's a problem. Right, old Zhong, isn't your son in 4th High? Why don't you let him do it? Chibing glanced at Fabai and said. Fabai was taken aback and jumped in fright. How could he let his son do something like this? If this was exposed, he'd have to go to jail. He only had one son, and he was missing a kidney. How could he let him take the risk? He quickly said, Master Bing, that's not a good idea. Let my son do this. What, you're not willing? Master Bing frowned. Are you afraid that I won't give you any benefits? Chapter 607. Chapter 607, Getting Close to Guan Xin'o, that's what you're talking about. We'll just find a scapegoat when the time comes. Master Bing said faintly as he looked at Gubang and Sihua. Do you have anyone who can take the blame? I do, but I don't have any connections with Pengjan Industries. The police might not believe me even if I get them to take the blame, Sihua said, troubled. Master Bing, I do have someone who's a distant relative of mine. He's the type of person who values money more than his life. Gubang said after some thought. Most importantly, he has some history with Pengjan. Yes, that's right. It's decided then. Yarawang will make the poison, and Pinliang will poison it. Gubang's distant relative will be the scapegoat if something goes wrong. Master Bing was getting impatient. Yarawang, it's best if you make a rare poison that's hard to detoxify, and the hospital won't be able to detect it. That's the only way to ruin Pengjan Industries' reputation. Otherwise, if they find out that someone poisoned Pengjan Industries, it won't affect Pengjan as much. Don't worry, Master Bing. Yarawang said confidently. There aren't many people in this world who can detoxify the poison I make. Since I'm called Yarawang, I naturally have a deep understanding of pharmacology. I've never lost to anyone in my life, other than one person, but that person disappeared more than 10 years ago. Yarawang naturally had the right to be arrogant. If Yarawang said he was number 2 amongst all the famous doctors of the hidden houses, then no one would dare say they were number 1. This was also why he was able to save Uncle Zhu even after he was injured. Yes, that's good. Master Bing knew how powerful Yarawang was. We'll carry out this plan after Pinliang is discharged. Old Zhong, don't worry too much. I won't mistreat you. Isn't Pinliang missing a kidney? I'll help him research a compatible kidney source in the next few days and then install it for him. Thank you, Master Bing. Fabai was overjoyed. Pinliang's loss of a kidney had always been a thorn in his side, and Master Bing was here to help him find a new kidney. It couldn't be any better. Lin Yi naturally didn't know that Master Bing had started to deal with him, but even if he knew, he would just laugh it off. Medicine King? He even used Dr. Kang's medicine to treat his injuries. How dare he call himself the King of Medicine? Why are there so many people with big faces in this world? Nothing was too strange in this world. Lin Yi parked the car downstairs of Shuahai bookstore and accompanied the two ladies into the bookstore. Meng Yaro and Yu Shu went to the high school information section. Lin Yi wasn't too interested in stuff like that. Even if he couldn't get into a university, Peng Zhan would still send him to one of Meng Yao's. Lin Yi wasn't Meng Yaro, after all. He didn't care how he got into university. If he had the time to study every day, he might as well do some research instead. Lin Yi was busy enough every day. I'll go to the medicine section. You guys can find me there after you're done, Lin Yi said to Meng Yaro. Oh. Meng Yaro was flipping through the latest mock exam summaries from different provinces and cities. She responded faintly and didn't bother with Lin Yi. Yu Shu was also flipping through a practice book like Meng Yaro, but after hearing Lin Yi's words, she waved her hand at Lin Yi, indicating that she understood. Lin Yi smiled and turned to the medicine section. This was where he met Guan Shuamin. Almost a month had passed in the blink of an eye, and Lin Yi and Guan Shuamin had established a medicine company together. Life was really strange. But, surprisingly, Lin Yi saw two familiar faces in the medicine section. Kang Ming had been in Songshan for 4 days now, and he was here with a difficult mission for his family. Hit on Guan Xin. He wanted to start with Guan Xin and learn about the recipe for the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing in Guan Shuamin's hand. Of course, he didn't believe that Guan Shuamin had invented the recipe. As far as he was concerned, Guan Shuamin was just like his grandfather, Dr. Kang, who'd gotten the recipe from some master by chance. He was a master at hitting on girls, and naturally, he wouldn't rush to the hospital to give Guan Xin flowers or woo her. That would be too cliché, and he didn't think that Guan Xin would say yes. According to Kang Ming's research, Guan Xin had never had a boyfriend before. Doing that would only scare her. And so, Kang Ming wanted to create a chance encounter. He wanted to meet Guan Xin at a suitable place and get to know her. That way, Guan Xin would let her guard down. But this opportunity wasn't easy to come by. Kang Ming waited in front of Guan Xin's house for 4 days without a single chance. It was easy to find out where Guan Shuamin lived, and Kang Ming found it without much effort. But while he waited for Guan Xin nearby, and he did see her every day, he couldn't just go up and hit on her, could he? Guan Xin would definitely think of him as a pervert, and that wasn't something Kang Ming wanted to see. Guan Xin took the commuter bus to and from work every day. It was a routine, and Kang Ming had no chance to take advantage of it. If Guan Xin took the bus or taxi, he could still create a chance encounter. But he wasn't a hospital employee, so he couldn't get on a commuter bus. This made Kang Ming very gloomy. He called himself the Casanova, but when had he not met his target after waiting for 4 days? Just as he was about to lose his patience, Guan Xin finally left the house. It was Saturday, and Guan Xin didn't go to work. After leaving the villa, she took the bus to academic bookstore. Kang Ming felt that his chance had come, so he quickly flagged down a taxi and followed her all the way to academic bookstore. When he saw Guan Xin go to the medical section, he started thinking about how to hit on her. Guan Xin naturally didn't notice that someone was following her. After all, she wasn't a criminal investigator, so there was no way she would notice that Kang Ming was already not far from her. Guan Xin came to the bookstore today to buy some books about the doctor-assistant exam. She'd majored in nursing when she was in school, but she'd also studied Chinese and Western medicine at the same time. Her grandfather was an outstanding doctor, and Guan Xin didn't want to disappoint him, so she chose a medicine-related major as her second major. Chapter 608. Kang Ming strikes up a conversation. Guan Xin's decision to pick up this major and take the exam was all because of Lin Yi. She knew that Lin Yi's medical skills were on par with her grandpa's, perhaps even better. She was afraid that she wouldn't have anything to talk about with Lin Yi in the future, so she decided to pick up this major. She didn't tell her grandpa or her father about it, of course. She'd made the decision herself. Kang Ming was regretting that he didn't spend more time studying medical books. He could have found a topic to talk to Guan Xin if he did. It was a rare opportunity. He came from a medical family, and this was the perfect excuse to strike up a conversation with Guan Xin. Unfortunately, Kang Ming didn't know how to do anything other than flirt. Kang Ming panicked when he saw Guan Xin flipping through a book from the shelf. How was he supposed to hit on her? Wait a minute. Kang Ming had an epiphany. Guanxin was just a nurse, she didn't know anything about medicine. Nurses, on the other hand, should be doing things like practice makes perfect, right? Needles, bandages, and so on. She didn't need to go to a bookstore to buy books, did she? So Guanxin was here for. Kang Mingming looked around the medical section. There were quite a few girls as well, and one of them happened to walk past him. Kang Mingming clearly saw the words on the cover of the book she was holding. Traditional Chinese Beauty. Realization dawned on Kang Mingming. So it was traditional Chinese beauty. Guanxin was probably here for that type of book as well. Which girl didn't want to look good? Especially a cute and pretty girl like Guanxin. She wanted to look even prettier. Kang Mingming felt more confident at that thought. He didn't know anything about medicine, but Guanxin might not know either. As long as he made it sound more professional and reliable, Guanxin wouldn't be able to tell if he was telling the truth or not. Not to mention that there were many books out there that were full of lies. What was written might not even be right, and some of them even contradicted each other. Kang Mingming gritted his teeth, strode over, and said with a smile, "Beautiful lady, are you reading beauty books?" Guanxin's book was open, so Kang Jiaoming couldn't see the cover. He had no idea what Guanxin was reading, so he asked arrogantly, "Oh." Guanxin raised her head to look at Kang Mingming. She didn't recognize him, so she ignored him and continued reading her book. "Hehe, many of the things in these books are lies. I happen to have nothing to do today, so I'll tell you how to use Chinese medicine to make you look good," Kang Mingming said confidently. "Let me introduce myself. I'm Kang Mingming, the grandson of Dr. Kang." "Dr. Kang?" Guanxin paused. She'd heard of Dr. Kang before, the famous golden creation. She'd often be asked if the hospital had Dr. Kang's golden creation when she was bandaging patients. But Guanxin didn't have any special feelings towards Dr. Kang, she'd only heard of him. "Yeah, our Kang family is a family of Chinese medicine. Usually, I won't casually comment on these Chinese medicine beauty books, but after seeing you today, I really can't help but say a few words." Kang Mingming thought that Guanxin was shocked by Dr. Kang's name, so he continued to speak proudly. "If you follow these scammers' books to make you look good, then you'll definitely be disfigured. I can't bear to see someone as beautiful as you be destroyed, so I have to say something." "Oh." Guanxin frowned, annoyed by Kang Mingming's incessant chatter. "No need, I don't want to have my beauty done either. How can you do that? You're so beautiful, if you don't know how to take care of yourself, then your beauty will only last for a short time." Kang Mingming said, "Think about it. You're so beautiful now because you're young and invincible, but in a few years, you'll be old and your pearls will turn yellow. What then?" Guanxin glared at Kang Mingming, wondering why this guy was talking like that. Old and yellow pearls? Was he crazy? But Guanxin had good manners, and she wasn't the type to get angry easily. She didn't say anything even though she was displeased with Kang Mingming, and continued to read. She thought that if she ignored him, he'd just leave. But who would have thought that Kang Jiaoming didn't leave? He continued to ramble on. "Our miracle Dr. Kang's family has done a lot of research on traditional Chinese beauty treatments. These are all common herbs written in these books, but they're actually useless. If you want to stay young forever, you need to take some strong medicine. For example, Lingji, snow lotus, deer antler, tiger penis." Kang Mingming didn't know what kind of medicine was good, but since Guanxin didn't know anything about it, he told her about some of the expensive herbs he'd heard about. Guanxin couldn't help but blush when she heard the words tiger penis. She was a little irritated. Was there something wrong with this guy? Why did he have to say everything? But Kang Mingming didn't have any self-awareness. He thought that Guanxin was moved by his knowledge when he saw her blush, so he continued, "I still have half a tiger penis at home. I ate half of it last time and it was very useful. If you need it, I can give it to you." Kang Jiaoming didn't realize that there was anything wrong with the tiger penis. He just wanted to get on Guanxin's good side, so he told her whatever he had at home. He did have snow lotus, but that was for the skin beautifying golden creation. He wasn't stupid enough to give it away. Guanxin couldn't stand the person in front of her any longer. She closed the book in her hands and was about to leave when she looked up to see Linyi standing not too far away. Her heart leapt with joy. She waved at Lin Yi. Lin Yi. What a coincidence, you're here too. Kang Ming was in the middle of proudly showing off his store's stock when he saw Guan Xin walk away, to find Lin Yi no less. Kang Ming's teeth itched with anger. The entire Kang family saw Lin Yi as their archenemy. Ever since Kang Xiaobo started hanging out with him, House Kang had been thrown into chaos. It was clearly a perfectly fine pill of life extension and toxin cleansing, but he didn't explain it clearly. Not only did he cause the Kang family to lose a precious pill, but they also had to eat dog shit. It was as embarrassing as it could get. Of course, Kang Ming never blamed his family for these mistakes. He never thought that if it wasn't for the fact that his family didn't believe that Kang Xiaobo's pill was a miracle pill and Kang Ming had stomped on the pill to smithereens, there wouldn't have been a series of events that happened after that. But Kang Ming pushed all the blame onto Kang Xiaobo and Lin Yi, blaming them for not making things clear. Chapter 609. I don't know him. He wouldn't have needed a shepherd dog if he hadn't been researching dog poop, and the pills wouldn't have been eaten by a dog anyway. That's why enemies are furious when they see each other. Kang Ming wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Yi into a million pieces, especially since he didn't know what kind of relationship this guy had with Xu Amin. What did he have to do with Xu Amin and Lai Changyi? Haha, I'm just looking around. What are you doing here? Lin Yi could tell that Kang Ming was here to get close to Guan Xin, but he didn't understand why Kang Ming was chasing after Guan Xin. Could it be that this brat has nothing better to do and only knows how to chase after women? Yeah, I'm here to buy 2 books. Guan Xin's face reddened again. Her heart raced when she remembered that the reason she was buying books was because of Lin Yi. She was a shy girl, especially in front of the man she liked. Oh, do you need help? Lin Yi nodded, not thinking much about it. Guan Xin was Xu Amin's granddaughter, and she worked in a hospital. It wasn't strange for her to buy medical books. No need. I've already chosen. Guan Xin said quietly. Kang Ming was about to explode. Why did this Lin Yi have to do everything? It was a perfect opportunity to hit on Guan Xin, but Lin Yi had ruined it. Was this kid born to be a troublemaker? He'd ruined his grandpa's birthday banquet, ruined House Kang's plans for the auction, and even ruined his own attempts to hit on Guan Xin. Zhao Ming couldn't take it anymore. He pointed at Lin Yi and said to Guan Xin, "This guy isn't a good person, don't hang out with him. He's a big scammer. Our Kang family's signature product has been copied by him. We're Dr. Kang's golden creation medicine, and he made Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. We made a special edition, and he also made a special edition. He's simply copying and copying. Don't get close to such a shameless person. He's learning everything from us. We're Miracle Dr. Kang, and now he's Miracle Dr. Guan. He's the king of copycats." Kang Zhaoming poured out all the depression he'd been suppressing for a long time, but when he finished, he saw Guan Xin staring at him coldly. It sent a chill down his spine. What kind of gaze was that? Hey! Kang Ming suddenly understood. Wasn't Guan Xin's grandfather Miracle Dr. Guan? How dare he call Miracle Dr. Guan a fake? Wasn't that the same as scolding someone's grandfather? Of course Guan Xin was pissed. Kang Ming regretted it. He couldn't control his mouth. Even if that was what he thought, he couldn't say it out loud. Wouldn't that make Guan Xin hate him? In a moment of desperation, Kang Zhaoming could only explain incoherently, No. I mean, I'm not saying that Miracle Dr. Guan isn't good, I'm saying that Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company isn't good. It's a counterfeit." Guan Xin was still staring at Kang Ming coldly. Her eyes were filled with anger. Kang Ming was shocked. What he said just now wasn't appropriate. Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Wasn't it Guan Xuemin's company? It would have been better if he didn't explain himself. The more he tried to explain, the more he made things worse. No. I'm not saying Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company is bad. I'm saying that Miracle Dr. Guan was tricked by that Lai Changyi and this kid. They made him do some fake things. Kang Ming explained incoherently. I didn't mean to insult you. How did you know Miracle Dr. Guan is my grandfather? Guan Xin glared at Kang Ming. She didn't say anything about her identity. How did Kang Ming know? I I guessed it. Kang Ming sweated profusely. Yeah, he was here to create a coincidence. He shouldn't know Guanxin. How did he let it slip? You knew, didn't you? Did you approach me on purpose? What are you trying to do? Guanxin took 2 steps back subconsciously. She looked at Kang Ming cautiously. It's a misunderstanding. It's actually a misunderstanding. Kang Ming was panicking. His performance today was below par. It could be said that he was below par. He was a master at picking up girls. How could he make such a low-level mistake? Lin Yi. It had to be Lin Yi. Ever since he met this kid, he'd started to make mistakes. It wasn't like this before. When he first met Guanxin, he was still a gentleman, boastful and knowledgeable, and Guanxin didn't pay attention to him because she was shy. At least she wasn't as angry as she was right now. He didn't know that Guanxin only thought of him as a passerby. She didn't care about him at all. Since he was just a passerby, Guanxin had no reason to be angry at him, but now, he was insulting her grandfather. He was insulting her grandfather and Lin Yi's company. How could she not be angry? Guanxin wasn't a woman with a strong personality. Although she was angry, she only glared at Kang Ming. Guanxin, I actually know you. I've admired you for a long time. That's why I'm a bit infatuated in front of you. Please forgive me for saying something that doesn't make sense. Kang Ming was indeed a master of love. After he calmed down, he pushed away his mistake with just a few words. Now, he was saying that Guanxin was too pretty and that Kang Ming was infatuated with her. If it was a more vain girl, she would have been very happy and wouldn't have cared about his mistake. But Guanxin only had Lin Yi in her eyes. There was no place for Kang Ming. His words only annoyed her even more. She frowned subtly and lowered her head. She didn't want to see Kang Ming anymore. Seeing that Guanxin was ignoring him and lowering her head, Kang Ming thought that his words made Guanxin shy. Girls who had never had a boyfriend would always be shy. Kang Ming thought that Guanxin was the same. Besides, he'd already used enough strong medicine today. If he said anything more, Kang Ming was afraid that Guanxin wouldn't be able to handle it. Guanxin, I still have something to do today. A friend asked me out. I'll be leaving now. I've lost my composure today. Although I had my reasons, it was still inappropriate. I'll come and apologize another day. Kang Ming felt that he was really smart. Not only did he apologize, but he also made a concession in order to advance. He set up an excuse for their next meeting. This way, Kang Ming could go to the hospital to find Guanxin. Chapter 610. What a fierce employer. Guanxin didn't know what she was trying to prove, but she didn't want Lin Yi to misunderstand. Ha! I know him. Lin Yi smiled. He's a playboy, don't mind him. Okay. Guanxin nodded, relieved. As long as Lin Yi didn't misunderstand. Guanxin didn't understand why she cared so much about Lin Yi. Lin Yi had a girlfriend, what did she want? Guanxin didn't know either. Did you buy the books? Lin Yi asked. Not yet, I was choosing when that Kang something came. Guanxin shook her head. He said some weird stuff, I don't understand. Continue choosing then, I'll just read some books. Lin Yi took a book from the shelf and started reading. Meng Yaro and Yushu went to the medicine section to look for Lin Yi after they were done with their revision materials. They saw Lin Yi talking to Guanxin. What's he doing? Meng Yaro was about to exploded. Why was he messing around again when she couldn't even stop him? Why did he bump into a pretty girl in a bookstore? Shield bros flirting. Yushu took a closer look. She's pretty, not any worse than Yaro. What are you talking about? Meng Yaro gritted her teeth. What do you mean not worse than me? This Lin Yi, he's pissing me off. Would he die if he didn't flirt? Oh, I don't know. I'll go tell Shield bro to stop flirting then. Yushu asked. You can't go. Meng Yaro frowned. She didn't want to yell at Lin Yi directly. She needed an excuse, or he'd think that she was doing something to him. With that thought, Meng Yaro quickly took out her wallet and stuffed it in front of Yushu's chest. Hide it. Just say that you lost it. Oh. Yushu stared at her boobs, confused. Yaro, It's not symmetrical. Hold it in for a bit, it'll be symmetrical when we get home. Meng Yaro glared at her. Oh. Yushu nodded, feeling wronged. Linyi. What are you doing? Shu and I went to buy books. How did you disappear in the blink of an eye? Meng Yaro tried her best to sound angry. I lost my wallet. Where did you go? Lin Yi was just about to finish his conversation with Guan Xin when Meng Yao's shout startled him. Who are they? Guan Xin jumped in fright as well. She looked at Meng Yaro and Yushu in fear. These two girls were ridiculously beautiful, but they were so fierce that it was scary. My employer. Lin Yi shrugged and smiled bitterly. I have to go back. See you next time. Ah. Guan Xin was curious. Why did Lin Yi have an employer? Wasn't he doing business with Grandpa? Why did it look like he was the follower of the two misses? What the hell was going on? Although Guan Xin was curious, she didn't ask any questions. She wasn't a talkative girl, so she nodded. Ian, all right. Come to my house some other day. Grandpa's still wondering when you'll be able to come. Okay, I'll visit when I'm free. Lin Yi nodded. Then tell Grandpa in advance. I'll prepare food for you. Guan Xin said, a little embarrassed. Meng Yaro gritted her teeth when she heard that Guan Xin was going to cook for Lin Yi. How could this girl be so shameless? She even wanted to cook for Lin Yi. Lin Yi, I'm hungry. Hurry, go home and cook for me and Shu. Meng Yaro pointed at Lin Yi and said angrily. Oh, I'm hungry too. I want to eat shark meat. Yushu raised her hands and called out as well, but the movement was too big, and a corner of her purse was squeezed out of her chest. She didn't even realize it, and continued excitedly, let's go catch a shark. Your employer is so fierce. Guan Xin opened her mouth. She looked at Meng Yaro and Yushu, stunned. Then go home. Don't disturb your work, okay, see you next time. Lin Yi didn't know what was up with the miss again. He walked over quickly. Lin Yi, it's because you left your post without permission that my wallet was stolen. What do you think I should do? Meng Yaro glared at Lin Yi. Bring the thief to justice. Oh, it's Shu who stole your wallet. Lin Yi smiled. How is that possible? Meng Yaro was shocked. She didn't know how Lin Yi knew. She argued, Shu, why would Shu steal my wallet? No, I didn't steal it. Yushu shook her head as well. Ha! It's right in front of your chest. Half of it's exposed. Lin Yi pointed at Yushu. Ah! Yushu looked down. A corner of her wallet was exposed. This, aren't you going to bring the thief to justice? I've caught him for you. Do you want me to send him to the police station? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Oh, no. I don't want to go to jail. Yaro was the one who forced me to hide my wallet. It's not my fault. Yushu screamed. Meng Yao's eyes widened. Her heart was about to explode. What are you screaming for? Stop screaming. It's because your chest is too big. It squeezed out your wallet. Ah. You can't blame me. Yushu said pitifully. Ha. Since we've found the thief, let's go back for dinner. Lin Yi smiled and didn't say anything. Sometimes, the miss was cuter than Shu. How could she come up with such a ridiculous idea? When they got home, Lin Yi went to cook. Meng Yaro, on the other hand, glared at Yushu. Look at you. You don't even know how to act. You got caught like this. Yaro, you can't blame me. The wallet came out on its own. Yushu said weakly. All right, let's not talk about this. You're pissing me off. Meng Yaro was speechless. Who was the girl who talked to Lin Yi today? I don't know. I've never seen her before. Yushu shook her head. Aren't you the spy 007? You don't know anything. Meng Yaro shook her head. Lin Yi prepared an extra portion of food. He wanted to give it to Tang Yun when he went to the hospital. However, the miss found out. Lin Yi, why did you make so much food? Will the three of us be able to finish it? Meng Yaro was just pissed, so she asked casually. In fact, the miss usually didn't care about leftovers. I made an extra portion. I'll give it to Tang Yun when I go to the hospital. Lin Yi didn't hide it. Chapter 611. Shu to death. The miss didn't say anything during the meal. She lowered her head and dug in, wanting to finish the extra portion, but her appetite was limited. She couldn't eat anymore, so she turned to Yushu. Shu, go eat some more. Ah! But Yaro sis, I'm already full. Yushu said, holding her stomach. No, eat some more, your breasts are too small, you need to enlarge them. Meng Yaro glared at Yushu, signaling her with her eyes. Yushu didn't know what Yaro sis wanted, but seeing that she wanted to continue eating, Yushu could only stand up and get more food. But Meng Yaro got there first, running to the kitchen and putting the leftover rice and vegetables on Yushu's plate. Ah! That's a lot. Yushu was shocked. Hurry up and eat, your body is still growing, you need to eat more, Meng Yaro said. Seeing that Yushu didn't move her chopsticks, she lowered her voice and whispered, if you listen to me, I'll let you be my second wife. Oh, okay, I'll eat then. Yushu was happy hearing that, so she made a difficult decision and picked up the chopsticks to eat with difficulty. Lin Yi watched Yushu eat all the food bit by bit, and stood up speechlessly. It seemed that the idea of bringing food for Tang Yun was gone. Yushu finished all the food and couldn't stand up anymore, lying on the sofa motionlessly. Lin Yi told the miss and went to the hospital to visit Tang Yun. Meng Yaro didn't have any reason to stop Lin Yi, and in fact, she couldn't. Seeing that Lin Yi was full of energy, Tang Yun was very happy. She was worried about Lin Yi's injury, but it seemed that he was fine now. You're here. Tang Yun ran down from the bed in surprise. Ian, are you feeling better? Lin Yi wanted to hug Tang Yun, but Tang Yun shyly dodged. I'm fine now, my forehead doesn't hurt at all. Tang Yin said as she moved away from Lin Yi, afraid that Lin Yi wouldn't be happy. This is a hospital room, there's a lot of people here, it'd be bad if Mom saw us, haha. Lin Yi chuckled. I wanted to bring you some when I was cooking, but Yushu ate it all. En. Tang Yun didn't want a meal, but a thought from Lin Yi. As long as Lin Yi thought of her, she would be happy. She wanted to ask about the relationship between Lin Yi and Meng Yaro, but she couldn't bring herself to do so. She was afraid that Lin Yi would think that she was petty. After a night of peace, the bold Tang Yun had returned to her original self. Without Meng Yao's provocation, it would be hard for her to do anything bold. It was embarrassing and shameful to think about it. Was she still the same person yesterday? Actually, I transferred to Songshan because my elders asked me to take care of Meng Yaro. It's my job, Lin Yi explained before Tang Yun could ask. Lin Yi didn't wait for Tang Yun to ask and started explaining. He had to tell Tang Yun about this sooner or later, it was just a matter of time. Now that she had met up with the miss, Lin Yi told her everything he could. I've been living in Meng Yao's villa since the first day I transferred here. She rarely interferes with my personal matters, but maybe it was because I didn't tell her before I went to avenge you, so I pissed her off. Tang Yun didn't know what Lin Yi was thinking. Lin Yi told Tang Yun about his relationship with the miss, not hiding anything. After all, there was nothing to hide. Lin Yi told her the truth. Oh, I see. Tang Yun calmed down after listening to Lin Yi's detailed explanation. After all, Lin Yi said that this was his job. He came to Songshan to take care of Meng Yaro. Yeah, will you be angry if you know the truth? Lin Yi asked. I'm not that petty. This is your job, why would I interfere? Although Tang Yun said that, she still felt a little uncomfortable. After all, Lin Yi was living under the same roof as Meng Yaro and Yushu. How could Tang Yun not care at all? It'll be fine when we get a dorm in university, Lin Yi said. Right, yesterday, they said that you kissed them and touched them. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. She paused and continued, and often. 3p. Lin Yi was speechless. 3p? How is that possible? If I really did 3p with them, would they let me meet you? That's true. Tang Yun wasn't stupid. If Lin Yi did 3p with the miss and Shu every day, they would definitely keep a close eye on Lin Yi. How could they let him meet her? What about kissing and touching them? Tang Yun couldn't help but ask. Didn't I tell you? Meng Yaro drank my drink, so that counts as an indirect kiss. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Yushu, on the other hand, was drowning, and I was performing CPR on her. As for touching her, it was during CPR, really? Tang Yun asked, but she already believed Lin Yi. Yes, Lin Yi nodded. Then can you take off the bandage on my head? Tang Yun asked. Ah! Lin Yi was taken aback. Tang Yun's thoughts were jumping a little too far, wasn't it? She was just asking about him and the miss. Why was she asking about the bandage on her head now? Lin Yi didn't know that Tang Yun wanted to know if she was disfigured or not. If she was disfigured, Tang Yun was afraid that she wouldn't be able to compete with Meng Yao. Although Tang Yun didn't say it out loud, her woman's intuition told her that Meng Yao's behavior towards Lin Yi wasn't just like what Lin Yi said, that she went to take revenge and didn't report to her. Yesterday in Fatty Lai's villa, Meng Yao's behavior could be interpreted as jealousy. Of course, Tang Yun wouldn't say it out loud if Lin Yi didn't say it. It should be done, let me take it off for you, Lin Yi said as he reached out to take off the bandage on Tang Yun's head. Tang Yun, on the other hand, lowered her head and looked forward to the moment the bandage was taken off. Ah! Lin Yi looked at Tang Yun's smooth forehead and couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Although Lin Yi was confident in his medicine, he was still a little nervous since it was related to Tang Yun. How is it? Tang Yun asked anxiously. Chapter 612. Next time knock. I don't dare. Tang Yun didn't dare to. She didn't want her dream to be destroyed. Haha, how would you know if you don't look? Lin Yi smiled. This isn't like you. You wouldn't be this worried in the past, would you? Lin Yi was right, Tang Yun wouldn't be this hesitant in the past. She was a girl who took responsibility for her actions. Tang Yun glared at Lin Yi but didn't say anything. She thought, what difference does it make if I'm pretty or not? Not being pretty would save me a lot of trouble. But it was different now. If she wasn't pretty, would he still like her? However, under Lin Yi's persuasion, Tang Yun still walked in front of the mirror. She panicked and looked at herself in the mirror. She couldn't help but be shocked. The scar on her forehead was gone. There was only a shallow mark left. If one didn't look closely, they wouldn't be able to see it. This is new skin. It'll be different from before, but there won't be any difference after a few days, Lin Yi explained. Is it really that magical? Tang Yun couldn't believe it. She had 8 stitches on her forehead. Although Lin Yi removed them in the end, it was still a mess of flesh and blood. In just one day, she recovered to her original appearance. Was she dreaming? There's nothing magical about it. Dr. Kang's golden creation can achieve this effect a long time ago. Lin Yi didn't think that what he did was magical. Dr. Kang's golden creation, how can my family afford it? I've never used it before, how would I know? Tang Yun was so happy that she was hopping around the room like a little bird. When she saw her mother come in, Tang Yun jumped in fright and almost fell down. Lin Yi quickly supported Tang Yun. Tang Yun fell into Lin Yi's arms. Mrs. Tang came to check on her daughter's condition, afraid that she'd be depressed. After all, Mrs. Tang hadn't seen Lin Yi's medicine with her own eyes. She didn't know if Tang Yin could recover. She saw her daughter and Lin Yi being intimate. Mrs. Tang coughed awkwardly. I'm going out for a walk. Mom. Tang Yin was embarrassed as she struggled out of Lin Yi's embrace, not daring to look at Mrs. Tang. She was pissed off that she'd fallen when her mother opened the door and walked in, not daring to look at her. This was so embarrassing. Did her mother think that she was throwing herself into Lin Yi's arms? Haha, I'll knock first next time. Mrs. Tang thought to herself, my daughter is all grown up now. It looks like I'll have to be more careful in the future. I didn't think about this in the past, but now I realize that my daughter needs her own space. Of course, this was under the assumption that Mrs. Tang liked Lin Yi. Mrs. Tang wouldn't be as easygoing as she was with Lin Yi. She'd be more than happy to ruin things. Mom, what are you talking about? Tang Yin said a little awkwardly. The wound on my forehead healed. I was so happy that I almost fell down, and Lin Yi just helped me up a little. Tang Yun felt a bit guilty under her mother's gaze, so she couldn't speak with confidence. I understand. Mrs. Tang said as she looked at her daughter's expression. Tang Yin knew that the misunderstanding had deepened. Auntie. Lin Yi didn't panic at all. He politely nodded to Mrs. Tang and asked, how's Uncle Tang's injury? He's much better. With the medicine you gave him, he doesn't feel any pain anymore. He's also taken the Chinese medicine. He looks good. In fact, Mrs. Tang didn't expect Tang Juqing to recover so quickly. He didn't feel any pain at all today, and it seemed like he was going to recover soon. "Let's go see Uncle Tang," said Lin Yi. "Hey, Yin, is the wound on your forehead really healed?" At this time, Mrs. Tang walked closer and saw the wound on Tang Yun's forehead. There was only a shallow scar left. Other than that, there was nothing strange. The scar was so shallow that it couldn't be seen anymore. It would probably disappear after some time. "Yes, I'm really fine now," Tang Yun said as she looked at Lin Yi shyly and said to her mother. "Lil Yi's medical skills are really amazing," Mrs. Tang praised. She looked at Lin Yi with more and more admiration. She felt that her daughter was really lucky to have met Lin Yi. She wouldn't have to worry for the rest of her life. And his family's life would gradually get better. Mrs. Tang also saw the news. The collapse of Chibing's skyscraper was on TV. Although they didn't say the reason and only said that the quality of the construction wasn't up to standard, Mrs. Tang knew that things weren't that simple. How could it be so coincidental? Lin Yi just got his revenge on Zhao Chibing and his skyscraper collapsed because of the quality of the construction. How was that possible? Anyone with a brain would know that it was Lin Yi who collapsed it. At that time, Lin Yi asked Fatty Lai to find a bulldozer, trenching machine, and a demolition team. It would be weird if the skyscraper collapsed by itself. Even if Zhao Chibing was a black-hearted businessman and skimped on materials, he wouldn't skimp on his own office building. One had to know that he had to work in the skyscraper, and the skyscraper was the face of the company. If the quality of the office building wasn't up to standard, how could people buy his company's real estate? But Zhao Chibing had no other choice. In comparison, he couldn't afford to lose face. He would rather swallow his teeth and say that his skyscraper wasn't up to standard than admit that it was Lin Yi who demolished his skyscraper. Mrs. Tang was straightforward. Zhao Chibing demolished his house and Lin Yi went to demolish his skyscraper. He destroyed Tang Yun's face and broke Tang Juqing's legs. Lin Yi did the same, destroying his face and breaking his legs. Mrs. Tang wouldn't have dared to think of this in the past. Those people were rich and powerful. How could her family be their opponent? They suffered losses and had no way out. But it was different now. They had Lin Yi to protect them. Lin Yi followed Mrs. Tang and Tang Yun to Tang Juqing's ward. Tang Juqing was listening to the radio and a rare smile appeared on his face when he saw Lin Yi. He was even more surprised when he saw that his daughter's forehead didn't seem to have any problems. Although Tang Juqing hadn't been to Tang Yun's room after she was admitted to the hospital, he knew how serious her injuries were. He saw his daughter's face covered in blood when they were being carried by the ambulance in front of their house in the shanty town. Chapter 613. Shu is going to die, Ian, it's done. Tang Yun nodded. It's fine now. Lin Yi said that he's here to take a look at your injuries. Okay. Tang Juqing nodded happily. What do you want me to do? Uncle Tang, just lie down and you'll be fine. Lin Yi waved his hand, gesturing for Tang Juqing not to move as he walked over to check on Tang Juqing's injuries. Tang Juqing's broken legs should be able to recover very quickly under the care of Chinese medicine. However, his neurological problems were still the same. That meant that even if Tang Juqing's legs were healed, he would still be limping when he walked. Lin Yi frowned. This wasn't a good sign. Even if Tang Juqing could stand up, if he tried to do rehabilitation training and limped because of the neurological problems, it would affect the recovery of his leg. If he continued walking like this, the newly healed legs might become deformed. Even if his neurological problems were healed in the future, the recovery of his legs would be different, and he would still limp. What's wrong? Lin Yi, is there a problem with my dad's illness? Tang Yun had been paying attention to Lin Yi's expression, and when she saw him frown, her heart skipped a beat. It's a bit troublesome. Lin Yi didn't hide it and explained his thoughts to Tang Yun and Mrs. Tang. He didn't hide it from Tang Juqing, because it wasn't necessary. Then what should we do? Tang Yun was panicking. But Tang Juqing and Mrs. Tang weren't too worried, and Tang Juqing smiled instead. It's fine if he's limping, it's good enough that he can stand up. It's better than lying on the bed, right? Tang Juqing couldn't be blamed for being optimistic. In fact, he had been lying on the bed for so long as he could stand up, he wouldn't care if he was limping or not. Being limping was better than being paralyzed, right? Mrs. Tang had the same thought. She didn't mind when Tang Jucheng was paralyzed, so what if he was crippled? Originally, I wanted to wait until the end of the college entrance examination and let you go back with me to see my old man. Then, I would bring back the nerve-stimulating medicine, but now it seems that there is not enough time. Lin Yi said, but it doesn't matter. I will find someone to send it over. How can I do that? Tang Jucheng was flattered. Lin Yi had to trouble others for his sake. Haha, it's nothing. Lin Yi thought of Gauden, his childhood playmate. He hadn't seen him in a long time, and now wasn't the time for harvest. He should have time. Dad, since Lin Yi said so, then it's settled. Tang Yun saw that her father still wanted to say something, so she spoke first to finalize the matter. Naturally, Tang Yun didn't want her father to become a cripple. Even if she owed Lin Yi a favor, it was her. She owed Lin Yi a lot anyway, so she didn't care anymore. After this small misunderstanding, Tang Yun had thought it through. Repaying a favor with her body was a good way to repay a debt. Since Tang Yun had decided to follow Lin Yi, she could let him do whatever he wanted in the future. Thinking of this, Tang Yun couldn't help but blush. Yeah, old Tang, it's Lin Yi's sincerity. Don't say anything. Mrs. Tang didn't care about her husband being crippled, but she still hoped that her husband could be like a normal person. Lin Yi took out his phone and wanted to call Gauden, but the moment he took it out, his phone rang. Lin Yi looked at the caller ID. It was Meng Yaro. Yushu's stomach was round, and she couldn't get up from the sofa. At first, it was a little uncomfortable, but it was bearable. But after a while, it became more and more uncomfortable. Yaro, my stomach is so uncomfortable. Why is it so big? Am I pregnant? I'm so disgusted. Yushu laid on the sofa and whimpered weakly. How can you get pregnant from eating? Don't say that. Meng Yaro was watching TV when she heard Shu's whining. She turned off the TV and walked over. Yaro, if you can get pregnant from drinking soda, why can't I get pregnant from eating? There's probably Shield Bro's saliva in it. Yushu said with a pale face. Alright, stop it. Meng Yaro couldn't help but feel embarrassed when the past was brought up. Did you eat too much? Do you want to go to the washroom? I haven't even digested it yet. How am I supposed to go? It's so uncomfortable. Yushu felt that her stomach was full and disgusting. In short, it was a mess. Wait, I'll go get some digestive pills for you. Meng Yaro was regretting her actions after seeing Yushu's discomfort. She shouldn't have let her emotions get the better of her. She didn't know if a person could die from eating too much, but since there was the phrase die from eating too much, it was probably possible, right? Meng Yaro panicked even more at the thought. She quickly went to get the pills. I'm not eating, I can't eat anymore. I'll explode if I eat anymore. Yushu couldn't eat anymore. Then what should we do? Meng Yaro didn't know what to do. I'm going to die. I'm going to die again. I don't want to die. Yushu felt that she was really unlucky she'd almost died 2 days ago, and now she was going to die again. Yaro, why'd you do this to me? I'm not trying to steal Shield Bro from you. I told you I'd be the second wife. You still want to get rid of me. Yushu felt really unlucky. She'd almost died 2 days ago, and now she was going to die again. Why would I do this to you? Meng Yaro didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Yushu's words. I don't like Lin Yi at all. Why would I steal from you? I didn't want him to bring food for Tang Yun. That's why I made you eat all of it. Right, Lin Yi, you. Hang in there, I'll call Lin Yi. Meng Yaro heard Yushu's words and immediately thought of Lin Yi. How could she forget about him? He should have a way to save Shu, right? Lin Yi picked up Meng Yao's call and the miss screamed, Lin Yi, where are you? Come back quickly, Shu can't hold on anymore. What? What did you say? Lin Yi froze. Shu can't hold on anymore? What did she mean? Shu ate too much, she can't hold on anymore, she's going to die, come back quickly, Meng Yaro said urgently. Okay, I'll go back now, Lin Yi sighed helplessly and hung up. Can't hold on anymore? Then why did she eat so much? She even ate Tang Yun's portion. Chapter 614. Yaro sis wants to assassinate me. Yeah, Yushu ate too much, I heard that she's about to die from overeating. I'll go back and check. Lin Yi sweated as he talked about it. What was going on? There were people who could die from overeating in this day and age. Ah! Tang Yun covered her mouth in surprise. She couldn't believe it. Did you eat too much? Overeating? Yeah, but it's not impossible for something like this to happen to Yu Shu. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. I'll go back first. Right, I've already talked to Dean Chin about it. You guys can stay in the hospital for now. Otherwise, you won't have a place to stay after you leave the hospital. Director Chin of the hospital knew Lin Yi by now, and he knew that Lin Yi had a special relationship with Guan Shuamin. Since Lin Yi had spoken up, Tang Yun and Tang Jucheng could stay in the hospital even if they were discharged. It wasn't like Lin Yi didn't want to pay up anyways. He had already paid a huge deposit. There was no need for Dean Chin to kick them out. Mrs. Tang was a little annoyed at the mention of this. She was discussing with Tang Jucheng whether or not they should buy a house first. The houses in Shanty Town had all collapsed and were uninhabitable. Fortunately, there was nothing valuable in them. The TV and refrigerator were bought when they got married. They were more than 10 years old and had long been worn out. It didn't matter if they were broken. As for furniture, there wasn't much. But since Lin Yi had arranged for them to stay in the hospital, they didn't have to rush to buy a house. At least they had to observe the market first. They couldn't just blindly buy a house. He didn't think it was possible for Yu Shu to be stuffed to death, but he still drove back to the villa as fast as he could. He saw Yu Shu lying on the sofa, moaning non-stop, with Meng Yarrow beside her, holding her hand and comforting her. Yarrow sis, I really can't take it anymore. Why isn't Shield Bro here yet? Yu Shu cried. Soon. That damn Lin Yi, he's staying at Tang Yun's place and doesn't want to leave. I don't know what's so good about Tang Yun, she's so much worse than our Shu. Meng Yarrow complained. Cough, cough. Lin Yi broke out in a cold sweat and coughed twice. Although Tang Yun wasn't weaker than Yu Shu, the key was Yu Shu's identity. Would Lin Yi dare to touch her? She was eldest Miss Best Friend. How could there be such a comparison? Lin Yi thought to himself, if you give Yu Shu to me as my wife, I'll definitely bring her with me every day. Meng Yarrow heard Lin Yi's coughing, and turned back to see Lin Yi. You still know to come back. Look, Shu is about to die, go save her. Lin Yi looked at Yu Shu on the sofa, relieved to see that she wasn't dead yet. He frowned when he saw the bulging stomach, wondering if there was a perforation. Shield Bro, you're finally back, sob sob. Yu Shu started crying, I feel so bad, Yarrow sis wants to assassinate me. No one wants to assassinate you, are you hallucinating? Lin Yi turned to Meng Yarrow, confused. Why would Yu Shu say that she wanted to assassinate her? Could it be that Yu Shu ate some poisonous food and was hallucinating? Meng Yarrow blushed, hurry up and save her, don't ask so much. Okay. Lin Yi nodded, picked up Yu Shu, and flipped her over. Her head was facing the sofa, and he said to Meng Yarrow, help me open her mouth, don't close it. Oh, okay. Meng Yarrow didn't dare to delay and quickly opened Yu Shu's mouth. Arf. Yu Shu couldn't help but cry out in pain. She thought to herself, why are you and Shield Bro trying to kill me? Are you trying to open my mouth and pull out my tongue? But she couldn't speak. What's your name? Meng Yarrow felt that Yu Shu's voice was similar to a certain voice, and she couldn't help but glare at her. Arf. Yu Shu couldn't speak with her mouth covered, and she couldn't make any sound other than ah. Hold it, it'll be fine soon. Lin Yi took a chopstick from the kitchen and started poking at Yu Shu's throat. Ah. Yu Shu felt a wave of nausea, and she finally vomited after being poked by Lin Yi. She hadn't digested her lunch yet, and she vomited it all over the floor, but Meng Yao's hands were all over it. The miss wasn't disgusted at all, but looked at Yu Shu with concern instead. Shu, how do you feel? Yu Shu started vomiting, and it didn't stop. She threw up almost everything in her stomach. Woo, it's so uncomfortable, but it's much better now. Yu Shu said after she was done vomiting. That's good, I was scared to death. Meng Yarrow was scared as well. What if Yu Shu really died from overeating? It's not a big deal, I just had nothing better to do. Lin Yi shook his head. You can't eat that much, why did you still eat? Yarrow made me eat. Yushu felt wronged, and she almost died. How could she not feel wronged? Why did you make her eat so much? Lin Yi was a little pissed. This wasn't a joke, and it was fortunate that she was fine. Meng Yaro didn't expect Lin Yi to question her with a straight face, but Meng Yaro was in the wrong, and she couldn't refute. Yaro didn't want you to bring food for Tang Yun, so she made me eat it all. Yushu said honestly. Lin Yi shook his head, speechless. It was pretty much what he expected. These two girls were too good at messing around. Shoo, stop it. Meng Yaro was a little embarrassed. You're very weak. Go back to your room and rest. Oh. Yushu felt a little weak after hearing Meng Yao's words. I can't walk. Yaro. Meng Yaro wanted to carry Yushu upstairs, but she couldn't carry her. She hesitated and turned to Lin Yi. Lin Yi, carry her upstairs. Upstairs. Can I? Lin Yi pointed upstairs. Meng Yaro was the one who'd told him firmly not to go upstairs when he first came. I'll allow this exception, Meng Yaro said, just this once. There's General Weiwu. Lin Yi looked at the staircase, and General Weiwu was still squatting there. Lin Yi didn't want Meng Yaro to find out that he wasn't afraid of General Weiwu, otherwise he wouldn't be able to explain himself if he lost something upstairs. Chapter 615. Elder Chu Ah. Oh. Lin Yi didn't expect Meng Yaro to let Weiwu squat by the stairs every day, knowing that General Weiwu wasn't a threat to him. Lin Yi shook his head. In fact, Meng Yaro made General Weiwu squat by the stairs to prevent thieves, not to prevent Lin Yi. Although she did guard against Lin Yi in the beginning, it wasn't necessary anymore. Meng Yaro had seen through Lin Yi's character. He wouldn't bring General Weiwu up even if she asked him to. Meng Yaro even hoped that he would sneak up and peek at her. At least that would prove her and Shu's charm. However, Lin Yi didn't go up. Although it was a little weird, the miss was stubborn. Why couldn't she win against Tang Yun? The miss pride took a huge hit. It wasn't the first time Lin Yi carried Yushu, so he didn't feel any burden. He carried Yushu and walked up the stairs. When he passed General Weiwu didn't even scream and moved to the side, lowering his head and not daring to look at Lin Yi. Meng Yaro hemphed and glared at Lin Yi. She just couldn't understand why Lin Yi wasn't afraid of General Weiwu. In fact, when she asked Lin Yi to go upstairs to connect the cable, Meng Yaro had already suspected that General Weiwu wasn't a threat to Lin Yi. Otherwise, how could Lin Yi go up to the second floor? Until a few days ago, when Lin Yi brought General Weiwu to look for her, it made Meng Yaro even more suspicious. Other than Forbert, General Weiwu couldn't even be ordered around by her daddy. How did Lin Yi get General Weiwu to go up the mountain? Because Forbert didn't come up, and only Lin Yi came to the cave alone. General Weiwu was obviously scared by Lin Yi, which was why it went to look for its master for protection. Meng Yaro could see that. Lin Yi chuckled dryly, not replying as he quickly went up the stairs. Don't look around when you're on the second floor. Follow me. Meng Yaro led the way and led Lin Yi to a room. She opened the door and let Lin Yi carry Yushu in. The pink bedroom was very cozy. There were many pretty flowers on the wall, and there were some plush toys on the bed. Lin Yi put Yushu on the bed, but Meng Yaro kicked him out of the room before he even had time to admire her beauty. Lin Yi shrugged, a little regretful. Not many people would be able to enter the Miss room, right? After all, not many people could enter the Miss room. Since Meng Yaro didn't let him look around, Lin Yi naturally wouldn't take the initiative to peek. He walked out of Meng Yao's room and went downstairs. He cleaned up Yushu's vomit on the sofa and returned to his room. Lin Yi called old Lin and reported to him what happened in Songshan. Of course, there was also good news. He had leveled up. He was now at the early phase of the mystic class. Old Lin's attitude was still indifferent. He didn't congratulate him, nor did he say anything else. He only told him to stay in House Chu. But when he was about to leave, he said to Lin Yi, if there's a chance, go and get in touch with House Chu's old man. House Chu's old man? Uncle Chu? Or Uncle Chu's father? Lin Yi asked, slightly startled. His father. Old Lin didn't beat around the bush with Lin Yi. If there's a chance, get in touch with him. If there's no chance, don't create one. There will always be a chance. Ah! Lin Yi listened to old Lin's words. Why did it sound so weird? Was it a zen? Was there a hidden meaning behind it? But Lin Yi remembered it in his heart. Haha, nothing. Old Lin smiled faintly. Kid, you didn't call me out of the blue just to report something, did you? I remember that you don't have the habit of reporting to me unless there's something important. There is indeed something. Lin Yi said, Old man, do you still have the medicine that stimulates the nerves when I trained? I think there's some left. Why, do you need it? Old Lin asked. Yes, I do. I have 2 friends with mental problems, Lin Yi said, or you can give me the recipe and I'll make some myself. Lin Yi hadn't studied this medicine before because it wasn't useful to Lin Yi, and it was hard to make. If you're making it, there are probably a few ingredients that aren't easy to get. I planted them myself, Old Lin said. I have some finished medicine here. If you want to use it, you can come and get it. I'll ask Gauden to send it over, Lin Yi said. I'll call him later. That's fine. Old Lin wasn't stingy with these things, because they weren't that important. When he gave it to Lin Yi to train, he made a whole vat of it. Lin Yi wanted to send it over by courier, but this was a serious matter. Lin Yi was worried that something might go wrong, so he might as well ask Gauden to send it over. Lin Yi missed this childhood friend as well. All these years, Lin Yi didn't have a fixed place to stay. Other than doing missions, he didn't have a place to stay. Every time he went back, Gauden would listen to Lin Yi talk about the outside world. He wished that he could go out, but Lin Yi never had the chance to bring him out. Gauden's family was very poor. In fact, the village that Lin Yi lived in wasn't rich at all. The only place that could be considered rich was the village head's family, with a fish pond. There was also Widow Wang's family at the entrance of the village, with a snack bar and grocery store. Then there was Lin Yi's family. Of course, Lin Yi's family's source of income came from Lin Yi's straw hats and sandals. Lin Yi's hands and feet were nimble, and he worked fast. Although many people in the village did this, Lin Yi's daily output was 4 to 5 times that of these people. How could he not be rich? In fact, this so-called rich was just being able to buy a laptop and eat at Widow Wang's snack bar. Lin Yi didn't know where all the money from all those missions went, but the old man didn't mention it, and Lin Yi didn't mention it. They weren't father and son, but they were closer than father and son, and Lin Yi didn't mind. Comparatively speaking, Gauden's family was very poor. They relied on farming for a living, and they didn't even have a phone. Gauden always wanted to leave the mountains and see the outside world, and Lin Yi promised him that he would bring him to see the world. Chapter 616. Childhood friends. Lin Yi called Widow Wang's house at the entrance of the village. Hello. Star West Village, who are you looking for? Widow Wang's village accent came through the phone. Aunt Wang, I'm Old Lin's Lil Yi. Can you call Gauden for me? Lin Yi said. Ah, Old Lin's Lil Yi? Wait here, I'll go get him now. Widow Wang replied and put down the phone. Star West Village wasn't big, and basically everyone knew each other. Everyone bought things from Widow Wang, so Widow Wang was more than happy to have people come to her place to answer the phone. Widow Wang's shop was right next to the village, and there was a loudspeaker inside. In the village, you basically had to shout to find someone. The loudspeaker could even wake someone up in the middle of their sleep. Gauden, it's Aunt Wang. Come and answer the phone. Widow Wang yelled through the loudspeaker and returned to the shop. Not long after, a man as strong as a bull ran into the shop. He was Gauden, 185 tall. He stood in front of the shop like a wall. Aunt Wang, my phone? Gauden ran a kilometer away from home, but his face wasn't red, and his heart wasn't racing. He wasn't even out of breath. One look and you could tell that his body wasn't normal. It's Lil Yi. Hurry up, it's a long-distance call. It's very expensive. Widow Wang pointed at the phone on the table. Lin Yi bro. Gauden rubbed his hands together excitedly when he heard Lin Yi's name. I'm Gauden. Ah. Gauden, Lin Yi smiled. Are things busy at home? It's good. We planted the seeds a while ago, and now they're weeding and fertilizing. We're just waiting for the autumn harvest. We'll probably have a good harvest this year, Gauden said. Not bad. Do you have a girlfriend? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Who'd like me? Gowden smiled. My family's so poor, and I don't look good. I'll be a bachelor for the rest of my life. If you have nothing to do during this period, come to my house. My old man has my address. You can help me bring some things over. It's a good opportunity to see the world, Lin Yi said with a smile. Ah, really? That's great. Gowden heard that Lin Yi wanted him to go to a big city and see the world, and he couldn't be happier. Then I'll leave after finishing the farm work at home. But Lin Yi bro, we haven't had the harvest yet, we don't have any travel expenses. Gowden and Lin Yi grew up together, so there was nothing to be embarrassed about. No money was no money, it wasn't shameful. Haha, my old man will help you prepare the travel expenses. If you need anything, just tell me before you leave, Lin Yi smiled. You don't have to be so polite with me. Of course, you're my Lin Yi bro, of course I won't be polite. Gowden was like this since he was young. Other than his dad, he only listened to Lin Yi. So in his eyes, Lin Yi and his dad were on the same level. It was natural for Lin Yi to give him money. Ha! Lin Yi smiled. He didn't know how many years it had been since he played with Gowden. The days of catching fish and prawns together were long gone. Even after he hung up, Lin Yi was still immersed in his memories. There were 3 times in his life when he was the happiest. The first time was when he was young. At that time, he hadn't gone on a mission yet. He was still learning medicine from his old man, training his body. He didn't have many missions a day, and when he was free, he would catch fish and prawns with Gowden. It was a very carefree life. The second time was in the training camp, with his teammates. He was the captain of the team, and he brought the other 6 teammates to overcome all obstacles and stand out. That time was hard and tiring, but it was also the most fulfilling. It seemed tense, but there wasn't the danger of a real mission. There was only the trust and friendship between teammates. Second brother, third brother, fourth brother, fifth brother, sixth brother, and seventh brother. Where are you now? Are you doing well? Are you busy with missions all over the world? Lin Yi shook his head. His teammates had gone their separate ways after leaving the training camp, and he hadn't seen each other since. The third time was when Lin Yi was in Songshan. Although he didn't know who his enemies were, and there were always some small troubles, these days of freedom made Lin Yi really happy. He hoped that it would never end. Of course, other than these 3 happy times, Lin Yi also had a lot of painful times. One of them wasn't painful, but at least it was painful and happy at the same time. It was also a rare time. It was also during that time that he met Yang Huaijuan, Armadillo, and Ning. It was also because of Ning that this time was forcefully erased from Lin Yi's memory. It was also the reason why Lin Yi chose to run away when he first met Yang Huaijuan. Until now, Lin Yi didn't know why he rejected Ning so decisively. Was it because of the huge power behind her, or was it because he couldn't give her a stable life? Lin Yi never thought that he would retire one day, and he didn't think that he would retire at such a young age. Lin Yi didn't know what his old man was thinking. He suddenly brought him to Songshan to do a special mission that would give him a lifetime's worth of food. This was a huge deal. Lingshan flipped through the case files on her desk. The kidney trafficking organization seemed to have been a lot more restrained recently. Ever since the transit station was destroyed, they seemed to have become a lot more careful. However, they didn't stop their crimes because they moved their targets and locations to the outskirts of the city. In this week, there were already 2 cases of widowed farmers being murdered. It was the same method, but the locations were more unpredictable. One of the 2 victims was a villager from Yazi village in the east of the city, and the other was a villager from Shunbu village in the west. One in the east and one in the west, tens of kilometers away from each other. There was no pattern at all. Even if they sent out the police force to keep watch, it was impossible to cover the hundreds of villages around the city with police officers. Putting aside the fact that the police force was not enough, even if it was enough, they couldn't possibly stop the entire police station and keep watch over the kidney trafficking organization, right? Lingshan felt like a coward. She'd cracked a couple of big cases since she'd been appointed, and she'd received praise and recognition from the leaders of the province, but she knew what was going on. She didn't have the face to say how she'd cracked the cases. Chapter 617. Lingshan's pursuit wasn't that Lingshan was a coward, It was just that she had arrived at the right time. Big cases kept popping up as soon as she took over. When Huaijuan was the captain, there were a few criminal groups as well, but they were all gangsters, bag robbers, thieves, and the like. These cases were big, but they weren't as complicated as they were now. Ling Shan, on the other hand, was a special forces soldier, and she had no place to use her skills. How could she not be frustrated? When Ling Shan came back, she was filled with ambition and wanted to show off her ambitions. Her dream of fighting with the gangster and taking him down didn't come true. In fact, it wasn't that she didn't have the chance to fight with the gangster, and there were quite a few of them, but how many of them could Ling Shan meet by herself? Even if she fought with criminals, how many strong ones were there? How many criminals could have the strength of a golden class? Ling Shan was a golden class mid-phase, and even in House Song, one of the 4 noble houses, she was the leader of the younger generation. If she wanted criminals to have golden class strength, she wouldn't need to be a criminal anymore. She could just be a bodyguard of some rich man and earn a lot. Why would she need to rob? What a headache. Why did these criminals keep coming in waves? Why did they have to do it in Songshan? Before the kidney trafficking organization appeared, Songshan did have an underground organ trade market, but because it was an underground trade, and it was done after both parties agreed on the price, no one reported it to the police. As long as these people didn't cross the line, Ling Shan wouldn't interfere. She couldn't do anything about it. But now, they were kidnapping people and selling their kidneys. She couldn't just ignore it. But these people seemed to have a very strict organization, and it wasn't easy to take them out at once. It was already very difficult to destroy just one lair. The main problem was that these people had doctors and operating tables in their hands, and they didn't need to go through the proper medical system or clinics. The kidneys weren't sold locally either, and according to Ling Shan's understanding, there hadn't been a single kidney transplant patient that was bought from this group. Of course, there were people who bought kidneys from the black market, but they also went through unscrupulous intermediaries. Then, they negotiated the price with the kidney seller in private, and the kidney transplant surgery was carried out in a regular hospital. The unscrupulous intermediaries only received an intermediary fee of 10 to 20,000 yuan. They had gotten rid of quite a few of these black intermediaries, but they were all small fries. They were of no help to the progress of the case. Ring dash Ling Shan's phone rang. Ling Shan's ringtone wasn't like those young men and women's, it was the most common default ringtone. It also suited her profession and personality, being more mature. Hello, I'm Ling Shan from the Criminal Investigation Team. Ling Shan answered the phone out of habit. It was an unknown number, and she didn't have a contact book. Ling Shan? A rough male voice sounded from the other side of the phone. I'm Chen Yutian. Oh, Chen Yutian. Ling Shan paused, frowning imperceptibly. What's wrong? Chen Yutian smiled bitterly after hearing the coldness in Ling Shan's voice. Ling Shan, I'm going back to Songshan tomorrow. I have a mission. Can we have a meal together? I'm busy with the case, I don't have time. Ling Shan rejected Yutian's suggestion. I see. Yutian sighed. Can we meet once? I really do have a case. Is there something important that you want to talk to me about? If not, I don't want to delay my work. Ling Shan said faintly. Can't we meet if there's nothing important? We're old friends, childhood sweethearts. You can't just not give me face, can you? Yutian said helplessly. Chen Yutian, please watch your words. It's true that we're old friends, but childhood sweethearts are out of the question. Ling Shan corrected him. Chen Yutian, I know what you're thinking. It's not that I'm not giving you a chance, it's your own fault. Who can you blame? Ling Shan, aren't you just making things difficult for me? You're one of the best in the younger generation of the noble houses, and you're already golden class mid-phase. I just broke through, when will I ever catch up to you? Yutian smiled bitterly. You know what I'm like. I've always wanted to be strong since I was young, and my man has to be stronger than me. Otherwise, do you think he'll have a good life? Ling Shan couldn't help but feel proud. Chen Yutian, I gave you a chance to challenge me, but you didn't take it. I even said that you can challenge me anytime before I have a boyfriend. If you're here to challenge me, I can meet you. If not, then I'm sorry, I'm not free. Ling Shan, as far as I know, Other than House Yu, Wu Chentian from House Wu is also a golden class early phase. Are you saying that you won't marry if there's no one stronger than you? Yu Tian couldn't help but ask. How do you know that there aren't any masters other than the noble houses? Lingshan asked back. She didn't know why, but Lingshan suddenly thought of Lin Yi. She didn't know where that guy got his kung fu from, but why was he so strong? I don't seem to be his opponent. Moreover, I still have to humble myself and pretend to be Miss Braindead in front of him. He's really as abominable as he can be. But she was in his hands, unable to fight back. Was this still her personality? She was the Miss of House Song, and she was going to be taken advantage of by him? This was too humiliating. And so, Lingshan decided not to think about him. She couldn't think about him, because thinking about him made her angry. Yu Tian was speechless. He didn't dare say that there weren't any masters outside of the noble houses, because he knew that there were masters outside of the noble houses. But since Lingshan didn't want to see him, there was no point in saying anything. Asking Yu Tian to challenge Lingshan now was the same as asking for a beating. He couldn't afford to lose that face. Chapter 618. Yu Shu's brother, right? I want to tell you a very unfortunate piece of news. I think I've reached the barrier to the late phase of the golden class, and I'm looking for a chance to break through. Lingshan said faintly. If you want to chase me, then work hard. Of course, you can give up, because I don't have much feelings for you. Yu Tian almost threw the phone away when he heard Lingshan's word. Late phase of the golden class? Was Lingshan that strong? How did House Song have a genius like her? Yu Tian took in a breath of cold air. If Lingshan could reach golden class late phase at such a young age, then House Song's position would definitely skyrocket, and Lingshan's marriage would be even more important. Who knew what kind of marriage old Song would arrange for Lingshan to get married then? Perhaps, if they knew that Lingshan had broken through to the late phase of the golden class, then House Yu would come to see her. Alright, I'll work hard. Yu Tian was in despair this time. The gap wasn't small at all, and there was no point in being angry. I'm busy, bye. Lingshan didn't say much and hung up. She didn't have any feelings for Yu Tian, so she purposely said that she was going to break through to the late phase of the golden class. In reality, she had just reached the middle phase peak, and there was still some distance to the late phase. Lingshan said that because she wanted Yu Tian to give up. She didn't like Yu Tian's personality. She was a strong person herself, but she liked men who were stronger. It was only with men like this that she was willing to let him come to her. Otherwise, she wouldn't feel comfortable. After failing to get a date with Lingshan, Yu Tian thought about his old playmates, Zhen Wen and Su Taizao. The fourth young master didn't come to Songshan often, so he didn't get to see them often. Zhen Wen and Taizao had called earlier, wanting to hold a banquet to welcome him, but Yu Tian didn't agree right away. He asked Lingshan if she was free first. The four young masters of Songshan were nothing more than a joke to Yu Tian now. They were just a bunch of kids, relying on their family's power to think they were invincible. There was nothing to be proud of. Since he'd chosen the other path, the distance between him and Zhen Wen, Taizao, and the others would only grow bigger and bigger. Although they used to be playmates, they had become estranged from each other. There was no longer the feeling of drinking and fooling around together. The Yu Tian now was much more mature than before, and this was also because of Lingshan's rejection that he had no choice but to walk this path. Thinking about it back then was indeed very difficult, but now that he had walked over, he realized that his choice was correct. Only by doing what he was doing could he be considered a man of indomitable spirit. Although the four young masters of Mount Songshan had been awe-inspiring, what use was that? Those empty reputations didn't belong to him. Even if they did, they would be cursed. It seemed like the gap between him and Lingshan was getting bigger and bigger. Yu Tian smiled bitterly. He understood that with Lingshan's personality, normal men wouldn't be able to tame her. They weren't her match in terms of martial arts. Even if she forced herself to be with him due to her family's pressure, Yu Tian believed that he wouldn't be able to suppress Lingshan in the future. Just like Lingshan said, he wouldn't even be able to do it. His phone rang, and Yu Tian looked at it. It was Zhen Wen. He'd already rejected the invitation yesterday, but Zhen Wen was still so persistent. Of course, Yu Tian knew exactly what Jian Wen was thinking. He was inviting him to a banquet, and he had to bring his sister Yu Shu. If his sister went, Meng Yaro would naturally go as well. As Meng Yao's pursuer, Jian Wen would naturally use this opportunity to get close to Meng Yaro. He was just a stepping stone. Yu Tian knew very well that his life was getting further and further away from Jian Wen. They weren't on the same path at all, and their relationship wasn't that good at all. Hello, second brother. Yu Tian picked up the phone, but he still called Jian Wen second brother. He was the second of the 4 young masters of Mount Songshan. Tian bro, how is it? Have you arranged everything? Do you have time tomorrow night? Do me the honor of meeting us brothers at Starlight Resplendent. Jian Wen asked with a smile. Yu Tian's reason yesterday was that he didn't know the schedule yet, and he didn't know if he had time. Haha, alright, tomorrow night it is then. I'll contact you then. Yu Tian accepted Jian Wen's invitation because he couldn't get a date with Lingshan. Alright, see you then. Jian Wen was overjoyed. As long as he invited Yu Tian, Yu Shu wouldn't come. As long as Yu Shu came, Meng Yaro would definitely come. He never had a chance to get close to Meng Yaro, and Meng Yaro didn't want to give him one either. Now, he could officially invite Meng Yaro and Yu Shu. How is it, bro? Is it done, bro? Tai Zhao asked anxiously. It's done. We'll go visit Meng Yaro and Yu Shu now and ask them to come to our banquet tomorrow night. Jian Wen nodded with a smile. Bro, this is a good opportunity. I think you should use this chance to confess to Meng Yaro, Tai Zhao said. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That's true. Do you have any good ideas? It wouldn't be good for me to confess to her, would it? Jian Wen frowned. But you're right, Meng Yao's attitude towards me is a little hard to understand. She's not as friendly as she was the first time we met at the theme park. Is she blaming me for not pursuing her well enough? Maybe I should prepare some flowers for her tomorrow? That's possible, Tai Zhao said. But forget about flowers. Girls all care about their face. You can't just go after her without doing anything, can you? But you can't be too intense and put her on the spot. It's like in many situations, girls like you pursuing them, but they don't want you to force them too much. She enjoys the process of you pursuing her, and she doesn't want to say yes right away. That's why kneeling down and begging is basically forcing people to make a decision. As long as the girl doesn't really like him, she'll reject him for sure. Even if she likes him a little, she can't just say yes right away. Chapter 619. Jian Wen's visit. And so, Jian Wen was thinking that if he were to confess with flowers, Meng Yaro might really reject him outright. Their relationship would be strained like that, and it wouldn't look good if he tried to pursue her in the future. Then what do you think I should do? Bro, why don't you say something drunk? An idea came to Tai Zhao. You drink some wine and confess your feelings to Meng Yaro. If Meng Yaro likes you, she'll be very shy and even want to make sure that you're just talking nonsense after drinking, or that you really mean it. Of course, if Meng Yaro doesn't want you to confess, you can just say that you said something drunk. She won't hold it against you, right? It won't be so awkward when they meet again. That's a good idea, Tai Zhao. But you need to help me out tomorrow. Jian Wen nodded. Shall we go to Meng Yao's house now? Yes, bro, don't worry. I'll create a suitable opportunity for you tomorrow. Just confess your feelings then. Tai Zhao patted his chest as he promised. Lin Yi wasn't expecting Jian Wen and Tai Zhao to come at this time. Lin Yi frowned as he looked at the two. Bro, what brings you here at this time? Shu's not feeling well. She's resting upstairs. Lin Yi didn't know if Jian Wen was here for Meng Yaro or for him, so he decided to ask. Haha, we're here for Shu. Since she's sick, then we have to pay her a visit. Jian Wen smiled. Tai Zhao, go buy some fruits. Okay, bro. Tai Zhao picked up the car keys and left, leaving Jian Wen standing in front of the villa. Wait a minute, I'll go ask Yaro and Shu. Lin Yi was just pretending to be polite to Jian Wen, since he wanted to use him to deal with Pinliang. He didn't care too much about him and just left him at the door. Meng Yaro was already in the living room when Lin Yi got back to the villa, evidently having heard the doorbell as well. Lin Yi, who's here? Is it Forbert? No, it's Jian Wen and Tai Zhao. I don't know what they're up to. Lin Yi pointed at the door behind him. Brother Jian Wen? Why is he here again? Meng Yao's tone was courteous, but it was clear that she didn't want Jian Wen to be a guest at her house. How would I know? But they said they were looking for Shu. Lin Yi shrugged. Yarrow, let them in. My brother will be back tomorrow. They're probably here because of this, right? Yu Shu came downstairs as well. She was behind Meng Yarrow, standing by the stairs. I thought it was Forbert bringing food. I'm so hungry. I want to eat to my heart's content. Hungry? You're hungry again? You want to eat to your heart's content again? Lin Yi was speechless. She just threw up, and now she was hungry again. Eat to her heart's content again? He didn't know what this Yu Shu was made of. Did she forget the pain after the wound healed? Yeah, my stomach's so empty, I'm growling. Yu Shu rubbed her stomach as she complained. I puked out too much earlier. It'd be better if I didn't puke out so much. Why don't you eat what you threw up? Meng Yarrow glared at Yu Shu, finding the topic disgusting. Oh, that's enough for the two of us. Yu Shu nodded. Meng Yarrow was about to throw up. She was quite hungry, but now she had no appetite at all. Lin Yi went to open the door, and Jian Wen walked in with a smile on his face. He wasn't overly enthusiastic when he saw Meng Yarrow, only nodding to her. Yarrow, I heard that Shu's sick. I'm not sick, Yarrow just set me up. Yu Shu was interrupted by Meng Yarrow. She just has a stomach flu, it's nothing, she'll be fine after throwing up. Meng Yarrow wouldn't let Yu Shu talk nonsense. Oh, I see. Jian Wen could tell from Meng Yao's tone that she didn't want to talk about it anymore. Shu, Tian Bro will be back tomorrow, Tai Zhao and I will hold a feast to welcome him. You should come too, your brother hasn't seen you for a long time, right? Okay. Yu Shu agreed without thinking too much. After all, she hadn't seen her brother for a long time, there was no reason not to go. Meng Yarrow was a little annoyed. Why did Yu Shu agree just like that? If she went, how could she not go? Didn't Jian Wen invite Chen Yutian or him? Only Jian Wen himself would know the answer. Yarrow, you're coming too? Jian Wen smiled. Lin Yi, are you free tomorrow? Meng Yarrow didn't answer Jian Wen's question. She turned to Lin Yi and said, you come with us. Okay, Lin Yi replied faintly. Jian Wen wasn't too happy about Lin Yi going with him, but Meng Yarrow being able to go was already good enough. He couldn't afford to cause more trouble. If he didn't let Lin Yi go, Meng Yarrow would be pissed off and refuse to go. That wouldn't be fun. He smiled. Haha, Yarrow, I was going to invite Lin Yi bro even if you didn't ask. We're good friends. Is there anything else? Meng Yarrow looked at Jian Wen. Jian Wen knew that Meng Yarrow was asking him to leave, but he didn't want to. He still wanted to stay a little longer. Let's wait for Tai Zhao. He went to buy fruits, and Shu's sick. As her brother, we can't come empty-handed, can we? Oh, tell him to buy some more then, I'm starving. Yu Shu ordered after hearing that Tai Zhao was going out to buy food. Okay, I'll call him now. Jian Wen's eyes brightened. He finally had a reason to stay a little longer. Afraid that Meng Yarrow would interfere, Jian Wen quickly took out his phone and dialed Tai Zhao's number. Tai Zhao, Shu's hungry. Go buy some fruits and some dinner too. Go to a few more places and buy a few more dishes, don't go too little. Jian Wen's hint was very clear. As long as Tai Zhao wasn't an idiot, he'd know what he meant. He wanted Tai Zhao to stay a little longer and not come back immediately. Chapter 620. Chapter 620, Chu Pengzhan's phone. No rush. We can't rush even if there's a traffic jam, right? Safety first. Jian Wen smiled faintly, praising Tai Zhao's teamwork. Meng Yarrow glared at Yu Shu, annoyed at her for being a busybody. Couldn't she have asked Lin Yi to cook for her if she wanted to eat? What was she supposed to ask Tai Zhao to buy? Now that this guy was here and not leaving, how annoying was he? Yu Shu knew that she was in trouble, and she pouted. But she had an idea. She looked at the time. Jian Wen only had 7 minutes left to flirt with Yarrow. Jian Wen kept on talking in front of Meng Yarrow, and Meng Yarrow kept on talking to him. Lin Yi, naturally, didn't feel like staying here any longer, and went back to his room. Jian Wen wouldn't be able to do anything in the villa, and Lin Yi didn't have to keep an eye on him. Oh, it's time for the cartoon. Today's Saturday, the theatrical version of Happy Goat and Big Big Wolf. Yushu jumped up from the sofa and turned on the TV, changing the channel with the remote. As expected, the familiar music of Happy Goat and Big Big Wolf came from the TV. Jian Wen had long since gotten used to Yushu's crazy personality. Yushu was pretty, but who could resist a personality like that? Luckily, the one he liked was Meng Yaro. Otherwise, he'd be screwed if he got together with Yushu. Jian Wen ignored Yushu and kept on talking to Meng Yaro. Hey, stop talking, I can't hear you. Yushu waved her hand at Jian Wen impatiently. Why are you so rude? They're watching TV. Jian Wen was about to explode. What did his words have to do with Yushu? But he couldn't afford to piss Yushu off, so he didn't dare talk back. First of all, Yushu was from House Chen, a noble house's descendant. Even if he had the backing of the Fire Wolf Gang, he couldn't represent the Fire Wolf Gang. He also didn't have the guts to go against the Chen family. Secondly, Yushu was still Meng Yao's best friend even if the Firewolves were to support him. If he pissed her off, he'd never be able to pursue Meng Yaro in the future. Yaro, let's talk over there. Jian Wen held in his breath, still maintaining the smile on his face as he pointed at the restaurant. I want to watch the cartoon too, I haven't seen this episode yet. Meng Yaro pointed at the TV. Watch it with us. What? Jian Wen almost jumped up from his seat. How old was he? Watching cartoons? If word of this got out, wouldn't he be laughed at to death? This was the first time Meng Yaro invited him to do something with her. Watching TV was like watching a movie, wasn't it? He'd just take it as Meng Yaro asking him to watch a movie. With that thought, Jian Wen calmed down. Sure, let's watch it together then. Watching cartoons, of course, meant that he couldn't talk. Jian Wen hadn't watched this series before, and he couldn't focus on it at all. He could only sit there and watch. He felt that time was getting too long. Why wasn't this Tai Zhao back yet? He'd be able to get out of this situation if he came back. What a blunder. If he knew that Yushu wanted to watch cartoons, he wouldn't have stayed here. He might as well just leave. Jian Wen couldn't take it anymore and went outside to call Tai Zhao. Where are you? Why aren't you back yet? Buying food for a year. Ah. And bro, didn't you tell me to go back later? Tai Zhao had parked his car by the roadside, leisurely smoking as he enjoyed the night view. Jian Wen's shout startled him. All right, hurry up and come back. Hurry up, Jian Wen said, a little troubled. See, Yao, I'm good, aren't I? Yushu said proudly. Haha, at least you're smart. Otherwise, I'd be annoyed to death by him. Meng Yaro felt that her best friend wasn't stupid at all. In fact, she was very smart. It was just that her way of expressing herself was a little different. Tai Zhao came back soon with a bunch of fruits and bento. Yushu invited Jian Wen to watch TV and eat together, but Jian Wen shamelessly rejected her. He couldn't take it anymore. What was the point of staying here if he couldn't talk to Meng Yaro? Go get Lin Yi and tell him to eat with us. Meng Yaro opened the bento Tai Zhao bought and placed it on the coffee table after Jian Wen and Tai Zhao left. Tai Zhao had bought a total of 5 bento boxes, all of them quite high quality. It shouldn't be cheap, and he and Jian Wen were included as well. Of course, they wouldn't be able to eat it. Oh. Yushu was salivating as she looked at the bento on the coffee table. She didn't even want to stand up. She wanted to eat it right away. Meng Yaro saw that Yushu wasn't reacting, and sighed helplessly. She got up and called Lin Yi, knocking on Lin Yi's door twice. Lin Yi, come eat. Meng Yaro didn't know why she had to call Lin Yi. Perhaps it was because he cooked for her and Shu every day, and she couldn't just call him when she was eating. That would be too ungrateful. They're gone. Lin Yi was lying on the bed, texting Tang Yin, telling her that he'd contacted Gauden and that the medicine would be here soon. He told her not to worry about Jucheng's injuries. Let's go. Tai Zhao bought some bento. Do you want some? Meng Yaro pointed at the bento on the coffee table. Yeah, we don't have to prepare dinner tonight anyway. Lin Yi walked out with Meng Yaro. Forbert usually wouldn't bring food over on Saturdays, so Lin Yi had to think of ways to solve the problem. When Lin Yi sat on the sofa, Yu Shu was almost done with the bento box. She didn't look like she was going to stop. "Don't eat too much, or you'll die from overeating," Lin Yi reminded. "No more." Meng Yarrow was worried that Yu Shu would get into trouble again. She put away the 2 bento boxes, afraid that Yu Shu would eat them too. "Oh, okay." Yu Shu felt wronged, but she didn't dare disobey. She didn't want to overeat again. After dinner, Lin Yi cleaned up the bento boxes and put the remaining 2 in the fridge. He'd heat them up for breakfast tomorrow. After he was done, he got a call from Peng Zhan. "Uncle Chu?" Lin Yi picked up. "What's up?" "Yeah, 2 things." Peng Zhan said. Yarrow isn't with you, is she? Is it convenient to talk?" Chapter 621. I have shield bro. Lin Yi glanced at Meng Yarrow and Yu Shu, who were watching cartoons in the living room. He lowered his voice and said, "They're watching cartoons in the living room. If there's anything, just tell me, Uncle Chu." "Alright, the first thing is about you." Peng Zhan didn't beat around the bush and said, "Sihua came to me today and asked me about your injury and background. I didn't say anything, but I don't know if he guessed anything from my vague words. I don't think Zhao Qibing will let this go so easily. He's definitely going to do something to you. You have to be prepared." "Ask about me." Lin Yi smiled. "It's nothing. Just ask then. If they want to do something to me, they can come to me." Lin Yi was a little wary of the people around Zhao Qibing, but he wasn't afraid of them. Although he was injured quite badly from the fight, he had the Jade training space. Lin Yi didn't believe that Uncle Zhu had something like that. Even if he used a large amount of treasures, he wouldn't be able to recover without at least a year and a half, according to what Zhao Laro said. So Lin Yi wasn't afraid of Zhao Qibing's revenge at all. "Send as many masters as you want, I'll run after we're both injured. I'll run back, and when I've recovered the next day, I'll continue to fight with the masters around you. I don't believe that you have an endless supply of masters around you. Let's see if you can still be happy when all your masters are lying on the bed." With the Jade space, as long as Lin Yi didn't meet a particularly strong master, Lin Yi would have nothing to fear. No matter what, you still have to be careful. Peng Zhan knew that Lin Yi had a certain level of confidence after hearing his words. He wasn't as worried as before. "I don't want anything to happen to you. Don't worry, Uncle Chu. If I can't win, I'll run." Lin Yi didn't think that running away was embarrassing at all. What was there to be embarrassed about? If he couldn't win, then he would be the one with the problem. "Then I'm relieved." Peng Zhan nodded and continued, "Secondly, I want you to help me find out why Yarrow went to that Mount Shuangyan with Zhong Pingliang. I was in a hurry, so I didn't ask about it. I wanted to ask about it yesterday, but something happened to you yesterday, so I didn't mention those unhappy things again. So, I asked you to help me ask about it. I really don't know about this matter." Lin Yi said, "I'll find time to ask about it, and then call you. There's no rush. There's no need to ask specifically. We'll talk about it when we have the chance." Peng Zhan didn't want to interfere with his daughter's private life too much. She was a grown-up, after all, and she wasn't that gullible. There had to be a reason why she followed Pinliang up the mountain. "Alright, I'll find a chance to ask her." Lin Yi nodded, feeling that it wasn't a good idea to ask Meng Yarrow about this. Yu Tian didn't give up and called Lingshan after he got out of the toll booth. But Lingshan's tone was cold. "Chen Yu Tian, you're back. What's up?" Lingshan had saved this number in her phone yesterday, but to Yu Tian, it was only a friendship. "Nothing, I just wanted to tell you that I'm back." Yu Tian always felt pressured in front of Lingshan. Lingshan's dominance made him uncomfortable, but he couldn't bring himself to resist. "Oh, I understand," Lingshan said faintly. "Is there anything else? If not, I'm hanging up." "You really don't have time tonight?" Yu Tian asked after some hesitation. "No, I'm busy. Bye." Lingshan didn't wait for Yu Tian to reply and hung up the phone. Yu Tian laughed at himself and called Jian Wen. "2, where are you?" "Taizao and I are at Starlight Hotel, VIP room number 1 on the 5th floor. Shu and Yarrow will be here tonight," Jian Wen said with a smile. "Alright, I'll be there in a bit." Yu Tian sighed. Jian Wen was using him as an excuse to get close to Meng Yaro. How could Yu Tian not know about this? But it seemed like his sister didn't have many pursuers. Yu Tian used to be afraid that people would harass his sister and affect her life, but she was 18 now. She was about to go to university. Wasn't it weird that no one was pursuing her? But thinking about his sister's personality, Yu Tian sweated. With that personality of hers, there weren't many men who could get along with her, right? She was either a prank, or she was just an idiot. That Wu Xiaocan had only been fooled by Yushu's appearance back then. If he'd known Yushu's personality, he wouldn't have dared to make a move so easily. If he brought Yushu home, it would be fine if she liked him, but if she didn't, he would be toyed with to death. After some thought, Chen Yutian called Yushu. Shu, where are you? Do you miss your brother? Yutian sighed. He went to the border for more than a year and never returned to Songshan. He didn't know how his sister was doing. When he was in Songshan, he was his sister's guardian angel. He didn't know if Yushu would rely on him like before. Oh, Yao and I are about to leave. Yushu received a call from her brother. I missed you before, but not anymore. I have Shield Bro, I don't need to miss you anymore. Shield Bro? Yutian froze. Who's Shield Bro? Oh, Yaro's follower and bodyguard. Yushu hated her brother for going to the special training for a woman. He even went to the border to train. She was still holding a grudge against Yutian's attitude. She wouldn't let go of this opportunity to piss him off. What was so good about that fox Lingshan? She made her brother fall head over heels for her, and she still didn't dump him. Yushu felt embarrassed. Look at how powerful Shield Bro was. He had Lingshan in his palm. She wouldn't dare to go west if he told her to go east. So in comparison, Shield Bro was still stronger. Ah! Chen Yutian gritted his teeth in anger. Where did this random follower come from and steal his limelight? His sister had always looked up to him, and whenever she was in trouble, she would think of him first. How did it become Shield Bro? Chapter 622. Between Yaro and Tang Yun, who was prettier? In fact, Yushu was proud of Yutian in the past, but ever since Yutian started going after Lingshan, Yushu wasn't too happy about it. Especially when Lingshan ignored her brother, saying that she would only accept him if he defeated her. Wasn't she just making things difficult for him? Her brother was an idiot, saying that Yushu was an idiot, and Yushu thought that he was even more of an idiot. Was it worth it for a woman? After a year of special training, 2 years of experience, it seemed like he was still no match for that fox Lingshan. Otherwise, her brother would have gotten her already, and wouldn't be so low profile. It was a dinner party, a formal one at that. Yushu was dressed in a cute Lolita style, while Meng Yaro was more on the innocent side. She looked a little older than Yushu, but Meng Yaro looked a little older than Yushu. Shu, are you ready? We're leaving. Meng Yaro knocked on the door of the dressing room. Oh, wait, I'll be ready soon. It was rare for Yushu to dress up formally, and it was only because her brother was back that she'd dressed up properly. Although she seemed cold towards her brother's return, she really missed her brother. After all, they hadn't seen each other for more than a year, not even for Chinese New Year. Oh. Meng Yaro wasn't in a rush. Since she was attending Jian Wen's banquet, she didn't have a good sense of time. It didn't matter if it was earlier or later. Lin Yi took Meng Yao's Audi S5 out of the garage and parked it in front of the villa, waiting for Yushu and Meng Yaro. His phone rang, and Lin Yi thought that it was Jian Wen calling to rush him. Jian Wen didn't dare rush Meng Yaro, but he could call Lin Yi to ask about their departure. However, Lin Yi was surprised when he looked at the caller ID. It was Lingshan. Hello. Miss Braindead, what's up? Instinctively, Lin Yi knew that Lingshan wasn't looking for him for anything good, so his tone wasn't polite at all. Lingshan's face froze. It had been a long time since she'd heard the nickname Miss Braindead, and she'd almost forgotten that she was Miss Braindead. However, she wasn't annoyed. She took a deep breath and tried to sound cute. Yeah, Miss Braindead has something to ask of you. Ha! What is it? Lin Yi wanted to laugh every time Lingshan called herself that. Was this considered flirting between lovers? Ever since the kidney trafficking organization's transit point was destroyed, we haven't found any other clues. Lingshan said helplessly. But the criminal organization hasn't stopped their footsteps. They've shifted their target to the villages near the city. In the past week, there have been 2 cases of kidney removal at Kayazi village in the east and Shunbu village in the west. My boss has given me an order to solve the case in 2 weeks, or I'll be sent home. Oh, I see. Lin Yi replied faintly. Hey, you won't let Miss Braindead lose her job, will you? Take pity on her and think of a way to help her get through this. Lingshan felt like her teeth were going to fall off from the sourness, but she said it so naturally, without any hesitation at all. Since when did she feel that it was natural for her to lower her voice in front of Lin Yi? What can I do? Lin Yi heard Lingshan's pitiful words, but he really couldn't do anything. He couldn't just leave Meng Yaro and Yu Shu to help her solve the case, could he? The miss would be furious again. You won't leave her to die, will you? Lingshan was really starting to panic. She'd just been scolded by her leader today, and if she couldn't solve the case in 2 weeks, she wouldn't lose her job like she said, but she wouldn't have the face to be the captain anymore. I'll keep an eye out for you. Lin Yi agreed after some hesitation. Lingshan's attitude made it hard for Lin Yi to reject her. Whether it was for Huaijuan's sake or his personal relationship with Lingshan, Lin Yi couldn't just ignore her. Okay. Call me if you have any news. Miss Braindead's phone is on the 24th of July. Lingshan was very happy when she heard Lin Yi's answer. Lin Yi didn't say anything and hung up the phone with a faint smile. Lingshan, on the other hand, had an indescribable feeling welling up in her heart. Was she still the same person she used to be? Why did she have to lower her voice to Lin Yi? Where was the arrogant and strong Lingshan from before? If her friends knew that she was flirting with a man and calling herself Miss Braindead, wouldn't they laugh their heads off? No, she couldn't let anyone know about this. The reason why Lin Yi promised Lingshan to keep an eye out for her was because Lin Yi had found a breakthrough. That was Jian Wen. He just told Jian Wen that he was going to take care of Pinliang, and the next day, Pinliang's kidney was cut off. It was fine if he was beaten up, but a kidney was cut off. This was a sensitive issue. Although Fabai didn't call the police, Lin Yi knew about it. Even if Pinliang's kidney wasn't cut off by Jian Wen, he must have a close relationship with Jian Wen. Jian Wen must have been in contact with the kidney trafficking organization. Because of this, Lin Yi agreed to Lingshan's requests. Although Lingshan made it sound pitiful, Lin Yi didn't like to do things he wasn't confident in. Since he was having dinner with Jian Wen today, Lin Yi could ask Jian Wen about his relationship with the kidney trafficking organization. Not long after hanging up, Meng Yaro and Yu Shu came out of the house. When the 2 girls appeared, Lin Yi was stunned. The 2 girls were already very beautiful without dressing up. Today, they were going out for dinner and dressed up. Lin Yi couldn't help but be stunned. What are you looking at? Meng Yaro saw that Lin Yi was staring at her. Although she scolded Lin Yi, she was secretly happy. He finally knew that there were 2 pretty girls at home. Ha! Lin Yi smiled and retracted his gaze. Yaro sis is prettier than Tang Yun, right? Yu Shu asked with a smile. Chapter 623. A blunder caused by a misunderstanding. However, the Miss and Tang Yun were both very pretty. If one had to say who was prettier, it could only be said that they each had their own merits. The Miss today would naturally be prettier than Tang Yun without makeup. There was no doubt about that. Lin Yi said, she's prettier than Tang Yun after makeup. Lin Yi's words didn't offend anyone. Although he was praising Meng Yaro, he also said that Meng Yaro was only better after makeup. Before makeup, they were about the same. However, Miss Chu had automatically ignored the words makeup queen. She felt a little smug as she glanced at Lin Yi. H, at least you have good taste. Oh, what about me? Yu Shu asked, using Meng Yaro as the vanguard before bringing herself out. You're about the same as Yao Yao. Lin Yi didn't know how to answer. Oh, am I really that pretty? That's great. I finally met someone who isn't blind. Oh. Yu Shu cried out in surprise and glanced at Meng Yao. Shu, why are you looking at me? Are you saying that I'm blind? Meng Yao glared at Yu Shu. Yeah, who told you to say that I'm not as pretty as you? Yu Shu said confidently. Stupid girl, when did I say that? Meng Yaro glared at Yushu. Then why did you admit it? Yushu retorted. I didn't admit it. You were the one looking at me. Meng Yaro was pissed. Yushu had tricked her. Then why are you feeling guilty? Yushu asked. I'm not feeling guilty, although I did say that my body is more balanced than yours. Meng Yaro said angrily. Oh, people with small chests always say that they're balanced. Yushu wasn't happy. You stupid girl, I'll tear your mouth off. Meng Yaro went to pull Yushu's face. Shield bro, Yaro sis is trying to kill me again, Yushu screamed. Alright, I'm driving. Lin Yi didn't know who to help, so he changed the topic. Right, Yaro, why did you go to Mount Shuangyan with Pinliang? Lin Yi remembered the mission Pengzhan had given him on the phone before, and he decided to take this opportunity to ask about it. That big liar Pinliang lied to me on purpose. Meng Yaro felt hurt when she thought about it. Pinliang didn't just lie to her IQ, he lied to her feelings as well. Pinliang didn't mean love with Pinliang, of course, but the longing for her family. Pinliang had given Meng Yaro hope, only to have it destroyed again and again. If Pinliang hadn't brought it up, Meng Yaro would have kept it as an eternal pain deep in her heart, not letting it out easily. But Pinliang's release of this sadness gave Meng Yaro hope. How could she not be depressed? Every time she thought about it, Meng Yaro would cry silently. She wasn't crying because she fell for Pinliang's trick, but because she missed her mother. She really, really wanted it. Everyone else had maternal love, but she didn't. Although she was the daughter of Pengzhan Industries and lived a luxurious life, she would rather not have all of this. She wanted a complete family. A happy home where he could have dinner with his parents every night. Lie to you? Lin Yi was driving, so he didn't notice the change in Meng Yao's mood. Yeah. Meng Yao's heart ached again as she thought of her mother. Ah. Yaro, don't cry, okay, you're prettier than me, okay? Yushu held Meng Yao's hand and comforted her. Yushu would argue with Meng Yaro about meaningless things sometimes, but she still missed Meng Yaro a lot. Her attitude changed immediately when she saw Meng Yaro sad. Cry. Lin Yi paused and looked at Meng Yaro through the rearview mirror. Her eyes were red as if she was about to cry. Yaro, what's wrong? Zhong Pingliang lied to Yaro, saying that he saw someone who looked very similar to Yaro at Mount Shuangyan. Yushu said for Meng Yaro. Zhong Pingliang made it sound so real and tricked Yaro. In the end, Yaro and I followed Zhong Pingliang up the mountain, and we were locked in the cave, someone who looked very similar. Lin Yi was even more shocked. The miss wasn't that retarded, was she? It was just someone who looked similar, and she was tricked by Pinliang to see what was going on. Yeah, Yaro thought that the person Zhong Pingliang saw was her mother. Yushu nodded and explained. Yushu, on the other hand, was no longer as playful as before. Her mother? Lin Yi couldn't understand. Yaro's mother, isn't she dead? Your mother is dead. Meng Yaro was furious. Not only did Lin Yi not comfort her, but he even cursed her mother to be dead. Ooh. Lin Yi scratched his scalp, wondering if he'd misunderstood something. Could it be that Meng Yao's mother wasn't dead? Then why would Pengzhan say that Meng Yao's mother left them when Meng Yaro was very young? Damn. Lin Yi came back to his senses abruptly. He'd misunderstood this leave. Usually, death could also mean leave, and in this kind of tone and situation, leave basically meant that. However, Pengzhan's leave might be the original meaning of leave. That was, for some reason, Meng Yao's mother ran away from home. Lin Yi couldn't help but sweat at the thought. This was a big mistake. He offended the miss for no reason, and it wasn't worth it. However, Lin Yi didn't care about the miss's retaliation. Your mother is the dead one. Lin Yi didn't even know who his mother was, and he didn't know if she was still alive, so Lin Yi didn't feel pressured at all. He had never seen his parents since he was young, and although he did fantasize about his parents when he was young, he had gotten used to it after so many years. He treated old Lin and his master as his family. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Your mother left home, Lin Yi explained embarrassedly. What kind of attitude is that? You're still laughing? Is it funny? Are you mocking me because I'm pitiful? Meng Yaro heard that Lin Yi was laughing, and she got even angrier. This was the weakness that was sealed deep in her heart, and Lin Yi's attitude enraged her. Chapter 624. Chen Yu Tian Ah. Lin Yi's words stunned both Meng Yaro and Yu Shu. Lin Yi had never told the Miss and Yu Shu about his background, and they didn't think much about it. Now that Lin Yi told them about it, they realized that Lin Yi had such a tragic background. He was an orphan. Oh my God. How did he survive all these years? He looked like he didn't care about anything, but could it be that he had a sad side that no one noticed? A woman's natural motherly instinct made the Miss feel pity for Lin Yi. Yes, she was nothing compared to him. At least she saw her mother, and she had a father who loved her, but what about Lin Yi? He didn't even know who his parents were. Wasn't that even more pitiful? I'm sorry. The Miss was someone who could learn from her mistakes. She apologized immediately after hearing Lin Yi's words. I shouldn't have said that, I really didn't know. You're even more pitiful than me. Ha! I'm used to it, it's fine. Lin Yi shook his head. Don't fall for it again. If something like this happens, you have to inform your father first. I believe he knows your mother better than you do. Meng Yaro nodded, surprisingly not refuting Lin Yi's words. The atmosphere was a little sad as they talked, but the Mrs. Mood recovered a little. She still couldn't be happy, but at least she wouldn't cry anymore. Lin Yi parked the car in the parking lot of the Starlight Hotel, half an hour late. The two girls had stayed at home for a while, and they'd gotten into a car accident on the way. They were stuck in traffic for a while, and that was why they were late. However, none of them looked embarrassed. They got out of the car confidently and walked to the hotel. Lin Yi was just a follower, so it didn't matter to him whether he was late or not. He followed the two into the hotel leisurely. Chen Yutian was already in the room, talking to Jian Wen and Tai Zhao. His face looked normal, but he was extremely unhappy on the inside. One was because of Lingshan's rejection, and the other was because of that shield bro who popped out of nowhere. His sister said that she didn't need him anymore. She had shield bro? Chen Yutian was furious. He only had one sister, and now she was going to be taken away. What shield bro, shield sis? I'm going to see who this shield bro really is. Wasn't he Meng Yao's follower and bodyguard? He wanted to see if this person had the qualifications to be her bodyguard. If he wasn't qualified, then fuck off and let him be shield bro somewhere else. At least this place didn't welcome him. As they were talking, there was a knock on the door. Jian Wen wanted to open the door and welcome Meng Yaro, but Yutian stood up first. He wanted to see who this shield bro was. Come in. Chen Yutian opened the door as he spoke, and Meng Yaro and Yu Shu walked in. Yutian bro. Meng Yaro was very polite to Yu Shu's brother. She greeted him as soon as she entered the room before turning to Jian Wen and Tai Zhao. Jian Wen bro, Tai Zhao bro. Bro. Yu Shu followed Meng Yaro into the room, but Yutian's face darkened. Where's that shield bro? Is he coming with us? Yutian wasn't an impulsive person, but he had no choice but to stand up. His sister was taken away, how could he not be worried? Yu Shu made it very clear that she had shield bro now, and she didn't need him as her brother anymore. How could Yutian not be troubled? Not angry? Oh, you're looking for shield bro? Yu Shu didn't seem to notice the tense expression on Yutian's face. His in the back. Yutian nodded and walked to the door. When Lin Yi came in, he reached out his hand. You're that shield bro, right? Let me introduce myself. I'm Yu Shu's brother, Yutian. Chen Yutian wanted to embarrass this shield bro. He was already at the early phase of the golden class, and normal people weren't his match. He wanted to let his sister know that her brother was always the strongest. Ha! Lin Yi looked at Yutian with a weird expression, but he still reached out his hand. Heh! Yutian's eyes widened as he stared at Lin Yi. He couldn't believe his eyes. He pointed at Lin Yi in excitement. You. Teach, let me introduce myself, I'm the shield bro you mentioned. Lin Yi interrupted Yutian with a smile, Yaro and Shu's follower. Ah! Yutian was even more shocked. He was Meng Yaro and his sister's follower. What was going on? How did he become their follower? Wasn't Meng Yaro and his sister too important? They actually invited him to be their follower. But looking at Lin Yi's actions, Yu Qian understood that Lin Yi didn't want him to reveal his identity. He introduced himself to Yu Qian as Meng Yarou and Yu Shu's follower. Yu Qian found it hard to believe, but since Lin Yi didn't want to reveal his identity, he wouldn't say it. He held on to Lin Yi's hand excitedly. Hello, I'm Yu Qian, Yu Shu's brother, hihi, haha. Jian Wen and Tai Zhao frowned. What was wrong with this Yu Qian? Before Lin Yi came, he said that he wanted to teach this Lin Yi a lesson for stealing his sister's place. Why was he like this now? Yu Shu wasn't afraid of her brother bullying Lin Yi. Instead, she wanted her brother to suffer in front of Lin Yi. She stopped thinking about Lingshan, but she didn't expect her brother to act like this. As if he regretted not meeting Lin Yi earlier. Since you're Yu Shu's brother, I'll call you Yu Qian bro. Lin Yi was younger than Yu Qian, so calling him Yu Qian bro wasn't a bad thing. Yu Qian, on the other hand, was flattered. He was about to reject when he saw Lin Yi's sharp eyes. He quickly nodded. Okay, I'll call you lil bro then. Meng Yarou and Yu Shu widened their eyes. Was this Yu Qian someone who was easy to talk to? Even if Lin Yi was their follower and bodyguard, Yu Qian didn't have to thank Lin Yi for protecting them every day, did he? The two looked at each other and saw confusion in each other's eyes. Chapter 625. Drowning his sorrows in wine. Even if he was defeated by Lingshan today, and he was pissed off by Shield Bro, and he was surprised when he saw Lin Yi, Yu Qian felt that he couldn't stay calm. It seemed like his years of training weren't enough. On the other hand, Lin Yi was still expressionless, as if he didn't know him. Yu Qian couldn't help but sigh. The gap between them was something he would never be able to catch up to. Yu Shu was also curious about her brother's attitude towards Lin Yi. Why didn't he seem to be hostile towards Lin Yi? Was it because Shield Bro was too weak that her brother couldn't bring himself to be hostile towards him, or was it because he was too strong that her brother didn't dare to be hostile towards him? After they sat down, Jian Wen told the waiters to start serving the dishes and ordered quite a lot of red wine. Since the food was prepared beforehand, it didn't take much time for Meng Yarou and the others to arrive and serve the food on the table. Yu Qian bro, I didn't think that you're a major now. We've all grown up. As the host today, Jian Wen naturally raised his glass first. In the blink of an eye, we're about to start our own families. I miss those carefree days. Haha, people have to grow up eventually. Yu Qian raised his glass as well, but he felt bitter in his heart. If it wasn't for Lingshan, he wouldn't have walked the path of righteousness, right? Would he still be as spoiled as before? Yu Qian could never forget Lingshan's look of disdain. That hatred towards spoiled young masters came from the bottom of her heart. This was also the reason why Yu Qian pulled himself together. However, Yu Qian still couldn't surpass Lingshan. No matter how hard he tried, he started too late. He wasn't as good as Lingshan, and naturally, he couldn't catch up no matter how hard he tried. What surprised Lin Yi was that Meng Yarou raised her glass as well and drank it all in one gulp. The miss didn't like Jian Wen at all, right? Why would she drink all the red wine in the glass under his suggestion? Lin Yi glanced at Meng Yarou in surprise, only to see that her expression was very lonely. Lin Yi was slightly stunned, but he immediately understood that the eldest miss was still thinking about her mother and had not recovered from her emotional state. At this moment, she was just drowning her sorrows in alcohol. Lin Yi had gotten over his parents' issues a long time ago, but Meng Yarou wasn't the same way. She had seen her mother when she was young, and Lin Yi had never seen his parents before. It was a completely different feeling, and so Meng Yarou missed them and felt melancholy. She had always hidden these emotions in her heart, but Pinliang had pulled them out, and she had no way to vent them. It was an oppressive feeling, and if she couldn't release it, she'd be in a bad mood. Drinking to drown her sorrows wasn't a bad idea. In fact, that was exactly what Meng Yarou was thinking. She wouldn't drink if she were to eat with Jian Wen alone. Who knew what Jian Wen would do if she got drunk? But now that Lin Yi was beside her, Meng Yarou let down her guard. She didn't believe that Lin Yi wouldn't care about her if she got drunk. She had this shield anyway, it'd be a waste if she didn't use it. Jian Wen saw Meng Yarou drink all the wine in one gulp, and a look of surprise flashed across his eyes, but it was quickly replaced by excitement. He was afraid that Meng Yarou wouldn't give him face and not drink. If that happened, then he wouldn't be able to drink too much. If he didn't drink enough, then he wouldn't be able to confess after drinking too much. He and Tai Zhao had thought of a lot of excuses to persuade Meng Yaro to drink, but it seemed like they were useless now. Jian Wen was still troubled. What was wrong with Meng Yaro today? Why wasn't she playing by the rules? He'd wasted so many brain cells thinking of excuses, and now it was all wasted. Yaro Yao, why did you drink so much? Yushu noticed that something was wrong as well. Nothing, I just wanted to drink. Meng Yaro said faintly, not admitting the unhappiness in her heart. Oh, then can I drink as well? Yushu bit her lips, looking at the red wine in her glass with greedy eyes. She didn't drink normally, because she didn't have much contact with things like this at home. Meng Yaro didn't let her drink normally, and she'd thought about it a couple of times, but Meng Yaro always rejected her. She didn't think that Meng Yaro would take the initiative to drink today. Sure, but not too much. Meng Yaro nodded after some hesitation. Oh. Yushu picked up her glass of red wine. She didn't drink when they raised their glasses earlier, and now that no one raised their glasses, she started enjoying the wine. Fortunately, everyone here was used to Yushu's personality, and no one said anything. It's sweet and sour, it looks pretty good. Yushu took a sip and drank the whole glass in one gulp. It wasn't a top-grade red wine, but it was Jian Wen's treat, and it wouldn't be cheap. Drink more if it tastes good. Jian Wen was afraid that they wouldn't drink, so he filled his glass and raised it again. Cheers, Shu, Yaro Yaro, I wish you two eternal beauty and youth. Yushu didn't give Jian Wen any face at all. She didn't even wait for him to finish before pouring another glass. Yaro Yaro, this is better than fruit juice. But you can't drink too much, you'll get drunk. Meng Yaro said, but she really wanted to get drunk. She'd be able to forget the sadness in her heart, and when she woke up, she'd be back to her strong self. What's this? Yushu asked as she took the bottle from Lin Yi after another drink. I don't know, but it's drinkable. Meng Yaro didn't drink much, so how would she know? Even if she came from a rich family, she was still a 12th grader. Peng Zhan wouldn't allow her to drink as she pleased. Chapter 626. More bottles. Haha, a 09 Laugh-It tastes pretty much the same as a 82 Laugh-It, and so it's one of the best-selling years in the market. The price is fair, and the taste is pure. Tai Zhao added. Oh, looks like Jian Wen bro's not bad, treating us to a world-famous wine. Yushu nodded and turned to Meng Yaro happily. Right, Yaro Yaro sis. Jian Wen felt really good after hearing Yushu's word. Yushu, oh Yushu, you've never done anything good for me all these years, and now you're finally saying something fair for me. You're too awesome. Haha, it's nothing. As long as Yaro Yaro and Shu are happy, a few bottles are nothing. Jian Wen said faintly with a wave of his hand. Yeah, but what does that 82 Laugh-It taste like? Yaro Yaro sis, do you want some? Yushu turned to Meng Yaro. Meng Yaro was feeling a little sad at first, but Yushu's words made her want to laugh. So this was the girl's goal. She wanted to try another 82 Laugh-It. Jian Wen's face froze. He didn't expect Yushu to say that. Wasn't this a trap? 82 Laugh-It? The market price of that wine was over 150,000, and in this Starlight Hotel, it was sold for 300,000. Jian Wen's kidneys were hurting. Jian Wen bro, Yaro Yaro wants to try 82 Laugh-It too, we haven't tried it yet. Can you get us a few bottles? Yushu had used this trick on Pinliang countless times, and it was a piece of cake for her. A few bottles? My kidneys. Jian Wen almost fainted on the spot. 300,000 a bottle, one bottle was equivalent to one kidney, and some kidneys couldn't even be bought at this price. Did this Miss Chen really think she was a millionaire? Did she think it was easy to earn money? The police were pressuring him, and his business was decreasing. He had no choice, and he sold his kidneys all the way to the countryside. He couldn't even get 1 or 2 kidneys a week, and now he was eating a couple of kidneys in one meal. He was so pissed that he wanted to curse. He glared at Tai Zhao. What the hell was wrong with your mouth? If you don't speak, will people think you're mute? How was Yushu supposed to know about 82 Laugh-It if you didn't mention 82 Laugh-It? But he couldn't lose his temper on the spot. That would make him look like a coward. How was he going to pursue Meng Yaro then? Especially since Yushu said that Meng Yaro wanted to drink as well. How could he say no? Waiter, 2 bottles of 1982 Laugh It. Jian Wen endured the pain in his heart and ordered 2 bottles. 2 bottles aren't enough, right? Yaro and I have a bottle each. What do you guys want? Yushu took the 2 bottles of 82 Laugh It all for herself. That's enough. We don't drink that, we used to drink it all the time. You two just have a taste. Jian Wen wanted to cry. 2 bottles wasn't enough. Do you want me to sell my kidney? Housen was rich, but the 2 brothers were in charge of their own businesses. Other than the money they had to give to the house and the firewolves, they didn't have much left. A meal that cost tens of thousands became hundreds of thousands. This was a huge blow to Jian Wen's finances. Chen Yutian thought to himself that his sister was still as cruel as ever. It wasn't something a normal person could handle, but the weird thing was, how did he become Meng Yaro and his sister's follower? What was going on? With his strength, he could protect any big shot, but why did he have to protect 2 little girls? But Lin Yi clearly didn't allow him to reveal his identity, so Yutian didn't dare to ask. But none of this could stop the passion in Yutian's heart. He admired Lin Yi. One could say that if it wasn't for Lin Yi, he wouldn't have the strength he had today. 2 bottles of 82 Laugh It were placed on the table. Lin Yi glanced at the seal and label casually. It was the real deal. Although there were a lot of counterfeit 1982 Laugh It in the market, the Starlight Hotel should not sell fake goods with its specifications and strength. After all, the price of the genuine goods was not cheap. It was 1 to 2 times the price of the normal channels. Yaro sis, let's drink 1 bottle first. Can we bring the other one back? Yushu felt that it was better to bring it home than to drink here. Shield Bro could cook some dishes and the 3 of them could have a candlelight dinner together. How romantic would that be? Up to you. Whatever Meng Yaro drank was the same. She just wanted to vent, to drown her sorrows with alcohol. She wanted to let the sadness in her heart dissipate along with the alcohol. Jian Wen almost jumped up from his chair after hearing Yushu's words. You want to bring it back? Why didn't you say so earlier? Why did you buy it in the hotel? You could go to the store tomorrow and buy 1 bottle at a discount of 150,000. It was half a kidney, but Jian Wen couldn't say this out loud. It would only make him lose more face. He could only endure it. His main mission today was to get everyone drunk and then confess his love. Jian Wen could only put other thoughts aside. If his confession was successful today, then these 100,000 would be worth it. And so Jian Wen started drinking as well. In order to make it seem real, he didn't purposely control his alcohol capacity. His alcohol capacity was quite high, and red wine wouldn't get him too drunk. Jian Wen's anger lessened a little as he watched Tai Zhao raise his glass for all sorts of reasons. This guy was smart enough to help him drink. Yutian was very restrained today. Because of Lin Yi's presence, he couldn't let himself go at all. He glanced at Lin Yi from the corner of his eyes, but Lin Yi was as calm as ever. He just sat there, looking straight ahead and not saying a word. But Chen Yutian still felt an invisible pressure suffocating him. Jian Wen and Tai Zhao hadn't seen Yutian for a long time, so they didn't think much of it. They thought that Yutian's personality changed after he joined the army. Jian Wen's main goal was to treat Meng Yaro and then confess his love after drinking. So, what Yutian was like had nothing to do with him. It was just an excuse. The 4 young masters of Songshan were no longer the 4 young masters of Songshan. Their relationship wasn't as close as they thought. His phone rang, and Jian Wen frowned. He took out his phone and looked at the caller ID. It was his follower, the tattooed man, calling. He hesitated before picking up the phone. What's up? I'm having dinner. Chapter 627. Tipping off weight. Jian Wen couldn't even tell Tai Zhao what he'd done, so he couldn't say it in the room. He stood up and said to the people in the room, I'm going to take a call, everyone drink first. With that, he got up and left the room. Lin Yi's hearing was amazing, but he couldn't hear what Jian Wen was saying. He could only vaguely make out the word police. He'd been paying attention to Jian Wen in the first place, and his instincts told him that there was something wrong with this call. After Jian Wen left, Lin Yi stood up as well. I'm going to the washroom. Tai Zhao didn't know that Jianwen's phone was behind his back, and he thought that Jianwen was trying to maintain his gentlemanly image in front of Meng Yaro because it was impolite to make a call in the room. He didn't even look at Lin Yi when he left the room. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi was just a small bodyguard, not worth mentioning. He was only being polite to Lin Yi so that he could help Jianwen pursue Meng Yaro. Lin Yi broke Master Bing's legs, and even tore down Master Bing's skyscraper. Tai Zhao was there with Jianwen at Master Bing's completion ceremony, and he couldn't believe it. How was Lin Yi still alive? After offending Master Bing, would he still be able to leisurely eat with Meng Yaro and Yu Shu? Didn't Master Bing take revenge? But as weird as it was, Jianwen only smiled faintly when he told Tai Zhao about it, not explaining anything. Tai Zhao didn't know, but Jianwen did. Zihua had revealed that 2 of his golden class masters had died under Lin Yi's hands. Lin Yi wasn't a normal person, was he? If he were just a normal bodyguard, why would Jianwen pay him back? He'd suffered a few times in Jianwen's hands, and he'd still call him brother. Was there something wrong with his head? Jianwen's bodyguards weren't there yet, and he wouldn't mess with Lin Yi for no reason. As for why Master Bing didn't make a move, perhaps he was afraid. After all, Lin Yi and Zihua were enemies that couldn't be resolved. Of course, this had nothing to do with Jianwen. All he cared about was the family business and whether or not he could get Meng Yaro. Nothing else mattered to him. After leaving the room, Jianwen walked to the end of the hallway, step by step, until there was no one around before continuing the call. Although he was a little drunk, he was still very cautious. There were some things that he absolutely could not let others know. He regretted cutting out one of Pinliang's kidneys. Of course, he didn't regret offending Master Bing and Zihua because of Pinliang. What he regretted was that he shouldn't have cut off Pinliang's kidney. Crippling him or even crushing his balls was better than cutting off a kidney. Wouldn't that expose him easily? Fortunately, Fabai didn't call the police, and Zihua had a working relationship with him, so this matter was temporarily suppressed. Otherwise, something bad might happen. Why do you have to ask me about such a small matter? Just keep an eye on him, we'll talk about it after a while. Jianwen was in a hurry to confess to Meng Yaro, so he was a little impatient with the tattooed guy. Bro, the fire wolves are rushing us. They're short on supplies. Why don't we spend some money to buy some? Some of those farmers are short on money. If we spend money to buy a kidney, we should be able to get some, the tattooed guy said carefully. By my ass, where's the money? Jianwen's heart was bleeding when he thought about how he had spent hundreds of thousands on today's meal. How would he be willing to spend money to buy a kidney? How many kidneys would he have to cut to cover the cost of today's meal? The tattooed guy didn't expect Jianwen to be this angry. He didn't dare to say anything. Useless thing, Kyaxi village is no good, can't you go to another village? I heard that the Bin village in the north is also very poor. Many people are undocumented, and they don't even have a household registration. Can't you go there? Jianwen said impatiently. Yes. We'll go to Bin village next, the tattooed guy replied quickly. Alright, don't call me if there's nothing important. I still have things to do. Jianwen cursed and hung up the phone. He put away his phone and was about to go back to the room. Lin Yi flashed into the washroom at the side. Naturally, Jianwen didn't notice that Lin Yi was eavesdropping on his phone behind him. If Lin Yi was right, this Jianwen was most likely the mastermind behind the kidney trafficking organization. However, whether or not he sold his kidneys didn't really matter to Lin Yi. As long as it didn't implicate him and his friends, Lin Yi really couldn't be bothered with him. However, since Lingshan came to him for help, and Lin Yi also agreed to help her, so Lin Yi decided to help her this once. Seeing that there was no one in the washroom, Lin Yi dialed Lingshan's number. In fact, this floor was full of luxurious rooms, and every room had its own washroom. Therefore, there weren't many people in the public washroom. Other than the waiters, the customers didn't have to go to the public washroom. Lin Yi. Lingshan received Lin Yi's call. She was inexplicably surprised. Although she didn't know why Lin Yi was looking for her, her instinct told her that it must be something good. There's a Bin village in the north of the city. You can pay attention to it. Lin Yi didn't waste any time and directly told Lingshan the news he heard from Jianwen Bin village. Lingshan was stunned, but she immediately understood what Lin Yi meant. Could it be that it was the next target of the kidney trafficking organization? Lingshan was excited. Although she was curious how Lin Yi got the news, she was smart enough not to ask. Lingshan had seen Lin Yi's uniqueness firsthand, and as an obedient and lovable Miss Braindead, she knew that Lin Yi wouldn't like it if she kept asking him questions all the time. All right, I still have something to do. I'll hang up first. Lin Yi heard faint footsteps coming from the corridor and quickly said to Lingshan. Thanks, Miss Braindead will treat you to a meal next time. You've really helped her a lot, Lingshan said in a cute and gentle tone. Lin Yi didn't reply and directly hung up. Looking at the end of the call, Lingshan gritted her teeth in anger. Since when did she have to lower herself like this? This Lin Yi didn't even care about her. However, Lingshan was disappointed again. Who asked her to ask Lin Yi for help? Forget it. She'll just treat it as a couple acting coquettishly. Luckily there's no third person who knows. Lingshan comforted herself. Chapter 628. Reporting to you after leaving the office, Lingshan changed her gentle demeanor and turned to the captains. Turn off your phones and get ready for the meeting. We have an urgent mission tonight. Yes. Captain Song. The captains were troubled by the kidney trafficking case as well. This was the worst case that had happened in Songshan in the past few years, and even the provincial leaders had ordered the criminal investigation team to solve the case as soon as possible, in order to minimize the negative effects of the criminal organization. Otherwise, the people in the city would be in a state of panic. Children wouldn't even dare to go to school by themselves. Even the kidney trafficking organization had become a terrifying code name. If a child cried, the parent would use the kidney trafficking organization to scare the child, and the child would immediately stop crying. The negative effects of the case had reached a certain level, and so the criminal police team had been working overtime to analyze the case and look for clues, but the progress was minimal. After all, this wasn't an individual crime, but a criminal organization with a tight organization and distribution channel. A criminal organization like this was the hardest to find evidence and clues, because they would only make their move when they were looking for a kidney source, and after that, they would perform the surgery in their own territory to remove the kidney, and then have their own distribution channels to sell the kidney. During this time, they wouldn't contact a third party, and so there were no traces to follow. Captain Song, you found a clue? Liu Wangli was the closest to Lingshan, and so when he saw the serious expression on Lingshan's face, his heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there was a breakthrough in the case? Yeah, at least there's a clue, Lingshan said proudly as she looked at everyone's respectful gazes. Lingshan felt that her acting like a spoiled brat wasn't for nothing. There's a clue. Everyone had a vague guess, but they weren't sure. After all, the case was too complicated. They admired and looked forward to Lingshan, but to say that Lingshan had found a clue just by staying in the office for a while was a little too unbelievable. After all, Lingshan was still at her wits' end during the meeting in the afternoon, and was scolded by the leaders. If it wasn't for Huaijuan, the entire criminal investigation team would have been scolded. I received a tip-off and found out the next location of the criminal group. Lingshan wouldn't reveal the exact location before the action. These men were all trained by Huaijuan and could be trusted, but it was better to be safe than sorry. Who knew how long it'd take for them to get their hands on the information? Next, we'll talk about the plan. Let's brainstorm, everyone. If we arrest them directly, it might be the same as last time. They are all small fries and won't be of any help to the case. Everyone nodded after listening and began to express their opinions on the operation plan. Not long after Lin Yi hung up the phone, he heard the footsteps at the door getting closer and closer. The person was obviously coming to the bathroom. Lin Yi was a little puzzled. Who would want to go to the washroom? He thought it was a waiter, but the person who came made Lin Yi slightly stunned. It was Chen Yutian. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He knew that Chen Yutian was here for him, or else he wouldn't come to the public washroom. Sir, Special Training Team 0197 reporting for duty. Chen Yutian stood up straight and solemnly saluted to Lin Yi. His words were crisp and clean. Ha! Lin Yi smiled faintly but didn't reply. He shrugged. I'm just a follower, not your instructor. Lin Yi didn't return the salute, which meant that Lin Yi had abandoned his previous identity. Chen Yutian's salute was wasted. His expression froze, but he didn't show any disrespect. Sir, after you left, I heard that you went on a special mission. How come? I came back a long time ago. Lin Yi's tone was still indifferent. I've said it before, I'm not your instructor now. I'm Meng Yao's follower, and of course, your sister's follower too. She calls me Shield Bro, you can call me that too, or if you're older than me, you can call me Shield Bro or Lin Yi. Lin Yi. So the instructor's name is Lin Yi. Today was the first time Chen Yutian heard Lin Yi's real name. In the special training team, Lin Yi's codename was Eagle, and all the members called Lin Yi Instructor or Instructor Eagle. Alright, I should go back. Lin Yi didn't want to talk about the past, so he waved his hand and left the washroom. How did the instructor become my sister's follower? Chen Yutian couldn't understand this logic, but he couldn't do anything if Lin Yi didn't want to talk about it. He dreamed of meeting the instructor again one day and asking him to teach him a thing or two, but now that he met Lin Yi didn't want to talk about his previous identity. Chen Yutian couldn't bring up his request. Lin Yi went back to the room, and Jian Wen continued to drink as usual. He didn't say anything when Lin Yi came in, because he didn't expect Lin Yi to tip Lingshan off. Let's play something fun after drinking, shall we? What's the point of just drinking? Tai Zhao said. What do you guys say? He really was a little drunk. He didn't control his alcohol tolerance, so he was in a daze right now. But it was also because of this that it was more realistic, and people couldn't see through it. Otherwise, with Meng Yao's intelligence, she would definitely see through it and think that it was an act. What do we play? What do you think? Jian Wen looked at Meng Yao and Yushu. Do you guys have any suggestions? It's fun, it's fun. I love playing. Yushu agreed with both hands. It was so boring to drink, and she would drag Yao Yao back home if they kept drinking. Meng Yao didn't say anything, nor did she refute. To be honest, she didn't want to play with Jian Wen and Tai Zhao, but she remembered that Shu and Lin Yi were here, and Shu wanted to play, so she decided to play. I think, why don't we play Truth or Dare? Tai Zhao said, and Chen Yutian came back to the room. Tai Zhao heard him and said, Yutian bro, let's play together. We used to play a lot, ha. Do you remember when you chose Dare to kiss Lingshan and got beaten up? Ha ha ha. Chapter 629. How embarrassing. Yutian's face darkened. This was something he'd done when he was younger, something Tai Zhao had planned, making him choose Dare and kiss Lingshan, but he'd gotten beaten up by Lingshan instead. And this Tai Zhao was treating it as a joke. But seeing that Tai Zhao was drunk as well, Yutian didn't do anything out of respect for each other. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was taken aback. Yutian was Lingshan's pursuer? It seemed like Lingshan wasn't that interested in him. Lin Yi wondered how Lingshan would react if he kissed her. There was a high chance that he would swallow the humiliation. What's Truth or Dare? Lin Yi had never heard of this game, nor had he played it before. Haha, it seems like Lin Yi bro hasn't played it before. Tai Zhao, explain the rules. Jian Wen said. Alright, it's very simple. Tai Zhao said. Truth or Dare is a game for many people to play together. You can use rock paper scissors, or you can spin a bottle to decide who to ask. Of course, you can also ask them one by one. We have more people, so we don't have to play rock paper scissors anymore. Then, let's say I'm the questioner, and I can ask a question, and the person has to answer it, and it has to be the truth, no bullshit. If someone sees through the bullshit, they'll have to drink a bottle as punishment. Of course, if the question is sensitive or personal, you can choose not to answer, but you'll have to choose Dare. Dare, on the other hand, is where I ask a question, and the person has to do it. There can't be any objections, and they have to do everything. After choosing Dare, you can't go back on your words, unless you choose to drink a bottle as punishment. Oh, then you guys play first. I'll watch. Lin Yi didn't care if he participated or not. It didn't have much to do with him anyway. Alright, we'll play first then, you watch. Tai Zhao nodded, agreeing to it. As far as he was concerned, it didn't matter if Lin Yi participated or not, as long as Meng Yao participated. I'll start with an bro then. Alright, ask away. Jian Wen nodded calmly. As far as he was concerned, Tai Zhao wouldn't ask him those tricky questions, and he couldn't just confess to Meng Yaro in the first round, either. That would be too abrupt. He'd have to at least wait for a round before he could confess his love to Meng Yaro. Then I'll start first. The first question won't be so tricky. Me. Tai Zhao said on purpose. My question is, what's the bravest thing you've ever done? The bravest. Jian Wen thought about it. The bravest thing he'd ever done was cutting out someone else's kidney. Of course, he couldn't say that out loud. He still had to maintain a positive image in front of Meng Yaro, so he couldn't talk about those fights. He thought about it for a while, and realized that there were a lot of bad things he'd done, but none of them were positive. Jian Wen couldn't help but feel annoyed at Tai Zhao's question. What the fuck was this bullshit question? But he had to answer it, or it wouldn't be truth or dare anymore. Only Jian Wen himself would know if it was the truth or not. Jian Wen organized his words and remembered some adventure movies he'd seen before. The bravest thing I've ever done is fighting sharks. Oh, I love fighting sharks the most. Yaro likes brave people too. Yushu clapped her hands and cheered. Meng Yaro glared at Yushu, but didn't say anything. Jian Wen was overjoyed at Yushu's words. Meng Yaro liked brave people. It seemed like Tai Zhao's question was right. It seemed like he'd have to do his best then. Thus, he said, I was once at a beach. I was swimming when I suddenly heard screams and cries for help not far behind me. As soon as I turned around, I saw a big shark swimming toward me. At this time, I didn't think of running away, but I wanted to save these tourists from danger. So I quickly swam toward the shark. The shark saw me and thought that I was coming to die. It was very happy and wanted to swim over to eat me. How could it know that it was actually itself that was going to die? Wow, Jian Wen bro, you're so brave. Yushu exclaimed. It's all right. Jian Wen got even more excited after hearing Yushu's praise. He started making up stories with the help of the alcohol. I punched the shark in the mouth and broke all its teeth. That shark lost its teeth and became a toothless tiger. It couldn't eat me anymore, so it was stunned. Then it turned around and tried to run, and how could I let it get away? Trying to run after scaring people? How could it be that easy? So I grabbed the shark's tail and swung it around, and it fell on the beach with a loud bang, getting a concussion. Shit. Yushu's eyes widened in disbelief. Jian Wen bro, you're so strong. I heard that shark teeth are the toughest animal teeth in the world, and you can even break them. You're so strong. Jian Wen paused. How would he know how strong a shark's teeth were? He'd only seen sharks in the aquarium when they were alive. He'd never touched a real one before. He was just making up stories to show off his bravery. He didn't think too much about it. But now that the words had been said, there was no room for regret. He had to bite the bullet and said, it's all right. It's not very powerful. Oh, Jian Wen bro, I have a shark tooth keychain here. Can you show me how to break it? Yushu took out a keychain and put it on the table. This was the shark that Lin Yi killed last time, and Yushu took one of its teeth and made it into a keychain out of boredom. What? Jian Wen's eyes widened, and his face almost cramped. He didn't think that Yushu would really take out a tooth for him to break. Was this a joke? Shark teeth were the toughest teeth in the world, and he wouldn't even be able to break a normal tooth. Chapter 630. By 1 free 1 inch ha, that shark's teeth weren't very sturdy. Jian Wen said with a laugh. Not very sturdy? What do you mean? Yushu blinked confusedly. Meng Yaro couldn't help but want to laugh. Her best friend looked like an idiot, but unknowingly, she could twist other people's words around and mess with them. That shark might have had fake teeth. That's why it wasn't sturdy. Tai Zhao quickly helped Jian Wen out of the predicament. Fake teeth. Sharks go to dentists. Yushu said, surprised. There's a clinic in the sea. Jian Wen was pissed. Was there something wrong with this Tai Zhao? Even if he was drunk, he shouldn't be talking nonsense. Sharks had fake teeth. Did he think it was a human? No, don't listen to him. Jian Wen said quickly, the shark I hit was an old one, its teeth were loose, so it couldn't take a hit. Oh, it's an old shark. Yushu nodded. Jian Wen bro, you're amazing. You can even tell that it's an old shark. Haha. That's true. Alright, let's not talk about this. Let's move on to the next question. Jianwen waved his hand. I'll invite you to my house one day. I still have the shark's skin. Oh, alright, I've never seen an old shark's skin before. I'll have to get someone to appraise it. Yushu nodded. Sharks are my favorite thing to do. Jianwen almost scolded himself for being an idiot. Why did he bring up shark skin for no reason? What if Yushu went to see it? Where would he get it for her? Shark skin was easy to find, as he could just buy one from the market, but old shark skin was hard to find. What if Yushu found out that it wasn't an old shark? Wouldn't he be slapping himself in the face? Alright, we'll talk about it another day. Jianwen could only force himself to agree. He turned to Yutian. Yutian bro, it's my turn to ask. Okay, go ahead. Chen Yutian looked at Jianwen making a fool out of himself. He felt that it was funny. His sister was really a clown. She could even squeeze someone to death with her words. Who is the most important person to you? And Jianwen wanted to ask some tricky questions, but remembered that Tai Zhao said that the first round would be some normal questions. It wouldn't be good if he asked some tricky questions, so he decided to ask a normal one. As far as he was concerned, the most important person to Yutian was naturally Lingshan. For me, the most important person is none other than my instructor during my special training. Chen Yutian looked at Lin Yi with respect, but Lin Yi didn't even look at him. Yutian was disappointed, but he continued, he changed my life, gave me dreams, gave me goals, and made me a great soldier. If possible, I want to be his student forever. Yutian's words confused Jianwen and Tai Zhao. Yutian had changed a lot these few years, but they didn't know who his instructor was. They didn't think much of it. Whether or not he was still pursuing Lingshan had nothing to do with Jianwen and Tai Zhao. Yushu, on the other hand, looked at her brother in shock. She didn't expect her brother, who was obsessed with Lingshan, to say something like this. The most important person to him was actually his instructor. From the looks of it, my brother has really matured a lot, and he also has a new life ideal and goal. But, who is his instructor? Was he really that good? Was he as good as Shield Bro? Alright, Shu, it's my turn to ask you. Yutian didn't wait for Jianwen to say anything. He asked Yushu directly, who do you think is better, me or your Shield Bro? Jianwen and Tai Zhao, of course, knew who Shield Bro was. They thought that Yutian was angry when he asked this question. Otherwise, he wouldn't ask this question. If Yushu didn't answer well, Yutian and Lin Yi would probably have a conflict, wouldn't they? Jianwen was gloating. He had a good relationship with Lin Yi on the surface, but that was only because Lin Yi was always by Meng Yao's side, giving him information. In fact, Jianwen hated Lin Yi a lot. He was messed with by Lin Yi twice in this room of Starlight Hotel. How could Jianwen forget that humiliation? If Yutian could beat up Lin Yi for him, Jianwen would be very happy. Yutian was Yushu's brother. Even if he beat up Lin Yi wouldn't dare to fight back because of Meng Yao, right? Haha, then this beating would be for nothing. Lin Yi was really unlucky, but it all depended on Yushu's answer. So, Jianwen waited for Yutian to finish his question and stared at Yushu, waiting for her answer. Oh, I think Shield Bro's a little stronger, right? Yushu wasn't expecting a question like that. Was he still holding a grudge against her for that phone call? But seeing that her brother wasn't showing any hostility towards Lin Yi, Yushu didn't care anymore. Haha, alright, Shu, it's your turn to ask Meng Yao. Yutian smiled and didn't say anything else. Jianwen and Tai Zhao's eyes widened. What the hell was going on? When did Chen Yutian's temper become so good? Then I'll ask. Yushu nodded and looked at Meng Yao. Yao, I'll be the second wife, and you'll be the main wife, won't you bully me? I don't want to be bullied. Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What kind of question was that? Be a concubine? Did Yushu really take it seriously? Yutian was taken aback as well. His sister's way of thinking was really weird. She wanted to be a concubine. Jianwen, on the other hand, almost felt his heart explode after hearing Yushu's word. Yushu wasn't bad looking, and she had a great body, but it'd be a disaster if he married her. He knew Yushu's personality very well. She liked Meng Yao, and if he married Meng Yao, how was he going to live with this buy one get one free system? Those who didn't know Yushu's personality would think that it was a great deal, but those who knew Yushu's personality would know that she was bringing a troublemaker home. He didn't want to live in the shadow of being messed with every day. In this short dinner, Yushu had messed with him a few times. If he brought her home, how could he live? Chapter 631. It's a tragedy to take a risk. Oh, then it's settled. I'll be a small wife from now on, Yushu said happily. Yutian bro, I think there's something wrong with Shu's way of thinking. Jianwen's heart was about to explode. This was unacceptable. It was a man's dream to have a mistress, but it didn't matter what type of mistress they were. If he married Yushu as well, wouldn't he be screwed to death? Was he going to live or not? Kids always like to mess around. Yutian didn't think much of it. He thought that his sister was joking. After all, it sounded ridiculous. His sister's way of thinking had always been different from others. It was possible that she was lying to Jianwen. This doesn't seem like fooling around. Jianwen said earnestly, Yutian bro, you have to guide your sister properly. This is a new era, how can there still be mistresses? This won't do. You have to educate her properly. But, Yutian didn't say anything when Yushu spoke up first. This is between me and Yaro sis, what does it have to do with you? Gah. Jianwen didn't know what to say. Yeah, this was someone else's business, wasn't he being a busybody? If he confessed to Meng Yaro and Meng Yaro accepted him, then it would have nothing to do with him. But he hadn't confessed yet, had he? Alright, it's Sister Yaro's turn to ask a question. Yushu glared at Jianwen impatiently. Yaro, it's your turn to ask. Meng Yaro didn't know what to ask, but after some thought, she still didn't know what to ask. Can I give this authority to Shu? Alright, I'll leave it to Shu then. Jianwen was in a rush to confess, so there was no reason for him to reject Meng Yao's suggestion. Okay, I love asking questions. Yushu rubbed her hands together, smiling at Taizao. Taizao bro, can I ask a question now? Alright, ask away. Taizao nodded as well. He wanted to ask a question that Jianwen could confess to. He was in a rush as well. Taizao bro, when did you stop wetting your bed? Yushu asked. What? Taizao's eyes went wide, not expecting a question like this. It was a funny question, but it was also a sharp one. Su Taizao had a secret, and that was that he had been wetting his bed since he was young. Although not many people knew about this secret, those who were close to him knew a thing or two. It was just that they didn't want to lose face and wouldn't mention it in front of him. When Taizao was in kindergarten, he once peed all over the kid who slept in the lower bunk. From then on, Taizao never stayed at a school or anything like that again. Even now, he didn't dare drink too much water at night because he was afraid of wetting the bed. This secret was an eternal pain in his heart. Taizao didn't know how to answer Yushu's sudden question. Truth or dare meant that you had to tell the truth. Of course, you could lie if you wanted to, as long as you didn't get caught. But Taizao didn't dare live this was a secret, but there were people who knew about it. He even thought that Yushu was asking this question because she knew about it. If he lied, Yushu would see through him, and that'd be even more embarrassing. Taizao hated it, but there was nothing he could do about it. The reason was simple, Yushu was that kind of person. Even Jianwen was being tortured by her. What was he? Taizao didn't want to tell the truth. He couldn't tell her that he was still wetting his bed, could he? That'd be too embarrassing. But if he didn't say it, he'd have to choose dare or drink as punishment. Taizao had drunk quite a bit already, and it'd be bad if he drank any more. He thought about it and decided to choose dare. I refuse to answer, I choose dare. Oh, that's great. Finally, there's a dare. Yushu clapped her hands in praise. Taizao was even more certain that Yushu was doing this on purpose. She wanted to see if he would take the risk, so she asked this tricky question. In fact, Yushu was just asking randomly. Yutian knew a bit about Taizao's secret, but he wouldn't tell his sister about it. Yushu's question was pure luck. Taizao bro, I order you to drink 2 bottles of red wine, Yushu said after some thought. What? Taizao almost jumped out of his chair. 2 bottles of red wine? What kind of joke was this? He didn't choose to drink as punishment because he didn't want to drink anymore, but Yushu was ordering him to drink 2 bottles of red wine. Was she messing with him? But he couldn't go back on his decision since he chose dare. Yushu's request wasn't too much, and it was normal. He couldn't reject it. Tai Zhao was hesitating, and Meng Yaro couldn't help but laugh. This Yushu really knew how to play with people. Wasn't she purposely making Tai Zhao regret? Tai Zhao bro, is 2 bottles too little? Why don't you drink 4? Yushu looked at Tai Zhao innocently, as if she wasn't the one who did this. What kind of joke was this? 4 bottles. Tai Zhao was glad that Yushu wanted him to drink 2 bottles. If he drank 4, he'd be dead. Alright, hurry up and drink. We'll continue after that. Jianwen's mind was on the confession, so he didn't really care if Tai Zhao drank or not. He just wanted the game to continue. Since Jianwen said so, Tai Zhao had no choice but to drink 2 bottles of red wine. Alright, let's continue. It's my turn to ask a question, and bro, I want to ask you this. Do you have someone in your heart? Of course. Jianwen saw that Tai Zhao was finally getting to the main point, and he started talking excitedly. My sweetheart is my childhood sweetheart, Yaro Yao. I've been secretly in love with her since I was young, hoping that she'd be my girlfriend when I grow up, and we'll get married and have kids. Oh, then do you want to have sex with Yaro Yaro sis? Yushu interrupted suddenly. Of course. Jianwen blurted out without thinking, but felt that something wasn't right. What? Chapter 632. Sora Mingyao frowned and glared at Jianwen in disgust. She turned to Yushu. Shu, don't use those vulgar words. Oh, I'm just making sure. Yushu stuck her tongue out. Yaro Yao, don't misunderstand, Jianwen found it hard to explain. If he denied it and said that he didn't want to do it with her, wouldn't that mean that he didn't like her? How was he supposed to confess then? But it wasn't right to say that he wanted to. Jianwen was about to go crazy from anger. This Yushu was a complete mess. Thank goodness he'd listed her as an unwelcome guest from the very beginning. Otherwise, wouldn't his life be shortened if he brought her home? He was pissed to death every day. I'm sorry, Jianwen bro, I don't want to do it with you. Yushu said regretfully. What does that have to do with you? Jianwen thought. It had nothing to do with her. Even if she wanted to do it with him, he wouldn't dare to do it. But since Yushu changed the topic, it was exactly what Jianwen wanted. He could use another topic to ease the awkwardness. Of course it has something to do with me. Yushu nodded seriously. Yaro Yaro is the main wife, and I'm the second wife. If you want to do it with her, you'll have to do it with the second wife, right? But I don't like you, I won't do it with you. Jianwen was speechless. He wanted to yell at her, but he didn't dare to. Yutian frowned as well. He didn't expect his sister to be so bold. It seemed like he had to find a chance to understand his sister's current life. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Meng Yaro stopped her. You're a girl, don't keep saying that word, it's not good. Alright, Yaro Yao, I won't say anymore. Yushu closed her mouth after saying that. Jianwen didn't have any temper at all. He smiled dryly and gave Tai Zhao a look, telling him to continue confessing to Meng Yaro in the next round. Yushu ruined it this round, and it was impossible to continue. Brother Yutian, it's my turn to ask you. Jianwen wanted to end this round as soon as possible so that Tai Zhao could continue asking him questions. That instructor you're talking about, who is he? I can't say. It's confidential. Yutian knew that he wasn't the star of the show today. He came here because Lingshan rejected him, and he had nowhere else to go. He didn't expect to see Lin Yi here. This was his biggest reward tonight. Although Lin Yi didn't seem to want to talk about the past, it wasn't important. As long as he found Lin Yi's people, he would have more chances to interact with them in the future. Chen Yutian believed that Lin Yi, one of his best students, wouldn't leave him alone. So Yutian wasn't interested in any games. The only reason he stayed here was to sit face to face with Lin Yi. What a thrilling and exciting thing this was. The instructor who used to be unreachable could actually sit at the same table as him today. How glorious was this? If his former teammates knew about this, they'd probably die from jealousy. Jian Wen and Tai Zhao froze at Yu Tian's words. They thought that it was just a normal topic, and Yu Tian would just say a few words. They didn't expect him to keep it a secret. Was there something special about this instructor's identity? But, even if it was special, it had nothing to do with Jian Wen and Tai Zhao. They didn't dare to be interested. Jian Wen was getting impatient, but he continued, "Then, Yu Tian bro, do you want to drink as a penalty or dare?" "I'll drink as a penalty." Yu Tian's alcohol tolerance was quite good, especially after being stationed at the border for the past few years. It was hard to get through the cold winter nights without alcohol, so his alcohol tolerance was much better than before. Yu Tian opened a bottle of red wine and drank it without blinking. He turned to Yu Shu and asked, "Shu, do you have a boyfriend?" Chen Yu Tian felt that his sister was getting more and more open-minded. He wanted to test her to see if she had a boyfriend. "Oh, I want one too, but Yaro sis isn't good enough. She doesn't have a boyfriend, and I can't find one either," Yu Shu said angrily. "No." Yu Tian froze. Still, this was good news. It was just that her sister's way of thinking was a little weird. Was she really that close with Meng Yaro? Why did she have to be a mistress? No. Yu Shu shook her head. "All right, it's my turn to ask. Yaro sis, when are you going to find a boyfriend?" "I don't know." Meng Yaro glared at Yu Shu. "Don't keep asking weird questions. This is truth or dare, of course I have to ask weird questions." Yu Shu didn't care. "Man, I still want to do 3P. If you don't find a boyfriend, when will it happen?" "Ha!" Not only Jian Wen and Tai Zhao, but Yu Tian's eyes widened as well. He didn't expect Yu Shu to say something like this. 3P. Jian Wen's face twitched. It felt good to do 3P, but he didn't have the guts to do it with Yu Shu. He didn't want to die yet. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was used to it. He sat there expressionlessly. "Shu, didn't I tell you not to say it? Why are you using such vulgar words?" Meng Yaro was getting angry. Yaro sis, I didn't say that. I said 3P, not ***. Yu Shu argued. "It's the same. Don't say it again." Meng Yaro hemphed. "Fine, I'll tell you when I get home." Yu Shu whispered. "Not even when you get home?" Meng Yaro glared at her. She didn't want to continue this topic. "All right, you can continue asking Tai Zhao bro questions." Tai Zhao's heart skipped a beat. Yu Shu was still asking questions? No way. But before he could say anything, Yu Shu started the second round of questions. "Tai Zhao bro, do you still wet your bed?" Yu Shu wasn't stupid. Tai Zhao's rejection of dare made her feel that something was wrong. She thought that Tai Zhao must have wet his bed, so she decided to ask a similar question. "You can't do that. I've asked this question before." Tai Zhao jumped up. Chapter 633. Chapter 633. The same question. Yu Tian and Jian Wen didn't say anything because they knew about Tai Zhao's problem. They just didn't say it out loud. But Jian Wen felt that Yu Shu's question was a bit sharper. This girl was really hard to deal with. Yu Tian could only smile bitterly. He didn't know if his sister was really just a coincidence or if she knew something beforehand. This question is different from the previous one. The previous question was, how old did you stop wetting your bed? The question now is, do you still wet your bed? Is it the same? It's obviously not the same, isn't it? Yu Shu explained with her fingers. Isn't it the same? Tai Zhao felt a headache coming on. Tai Zhao bro, you said it yourself. It's not the same, not the same. You can answer now. Yu Shu said. Tai Zhao didn't think that he'd fall into Yu Shu's trap again. He smiled bitterly, not daring to choose dare this time. He picked up a bottle of red wine. "I'll drink this as punishment." I refuse to answer. After finishing the wine, Tai Zhao took a few deep breaths and recovered a bit. Seeing that Jian Wen was getting impatient, he quickly asked, "And bro, it's my turn now. I want to ask you, what does your ideal girlfriend look like?" Ideal girlfriend? Jian Wen saw that it was time for him to show off again. He couldn't fall for Yu Shu's tricks again. He couldn't just answer her sneaky questions like that. He must finish his confession in one breath. "My ideal girlfriend She must have beautiful long hair, height must be about 1.65 meters, tall, slightly thin, pure and beautiful, just like you and Yaro Yaro. Alright, Genwen bro, it's your turn to ask my bro. I've already prepared a new question for Yaro Yaro, hurry up. Yushu interrupted Genwen before he could say anything. Wait, I'm not done yet. Genwen was panicking. Yushu again? Why was she so annoying? You're done. Taizao bro asked you what your ideal girlfriend looks like, and you've already answered, just like Yaro Yaro sis. Yushu said. See, you're done. I'm not done yet, I haven't explained the rest yet. Genwen was pissed. Do you still need to explain? Then hurry up and explain. Yushu was a little impatient, and said dully. Where was I? Genwen asked, forgetting his lines after being interrupted by Yushu. You said that you want to find a girlfriend, just like Yaro Yaro sis. Yushu said, alright, Genwen bro, I hope you can find a girlfriend like Yaro Yaro sis. Do you have anything else to say? What? Genwen froze. Find a similar one? I'm looking for Meng Yao. What's the point of looking for someone like her? So he hurriedly said, I want to find Yaro Yao. That won't do. Yaro Yaro already has someone she likes, and I don't like you. Yushu waved her hand. Alright, let's move on to the next round. Genwen was so pissed off that his nose was crooked. Was this Yushu sent by the heavens to go against him? Although he didn't finish his sentence, Genwen couldn't continue with Yushu's interference. Alright, let's move on to the next round. Yutian bro, do you still want to marry Lingshan? I'm not thinking about it anymore. Haha, I feel like the gap is getting bigger and bigger, and the hope is getting smaller and smaller. Yutian didn't avoid this question. He shook his head and said faintly. Yutian finished answering this question, and now it was Yutian's turn to ask Yushu. Yutian thought about what he should ask his sister. He had asked everything he needed to ask. His sister didn't have a boyfriend yet, so she was probably still pretending to get a room. She was still as dumb as before. Right, when you were young, you buried a metal box with Yaro Yaro in the yard. What's the secret in it? Yutian asked his sister curiously, but she blushed and refused to answer. Meng Yaro also avoided answering this question on purpose. After a period of time, Yutian was very curious about the secret in the box, but he couldn't get an answer. After that, he joined the special training team and grew up, becoming an armed police soldier stationed at the border. That box, it's actually nothing much. It's just a vow between me and Yaro Yaro sis. Yushu didn't feel embarrassed anymore. After all these years, Yushu's personality had formed. She was always this kind of dumb person. Great intelligence looks dumb, and she would never pay for it. Vow? What vow? Yutian asked. Genwen, on the other hand, had his eyes wide open, waiting for Yushu's answer. He wasn't interested in other people's business, but Yushu said that it involved Meng Yao's vow. He was very interested in anything related to Meng Yaro. Our vow was that Yaro Yaro sis and I will marry the same man. Yaro Yaro sis will be the big wife, and I will be the small wife, Yushu said proudly. Shu, don't talk nonsense. Meng Yaro blushed. What kind of vow was this? She didn't know why she agreed to it in the first place. She thought that she didn't want to be separated from Shu in the future, and that they could be together forever. But now that she grew up, she realized how childish she was back then. Was such a thing really possible? Could Shu really marry the same man as her? Even if she agreed, wouldn't it scare her future boyfriend? Meng Yaro didn't know what to ask, but an image appeared in her mind. Lin Yi. Why did she think of him? It'd be quite a good match if Shu married him. He was probably the only one who could handle Yushu's antics. They'd been living under the same roof for so long, and he didn't seem to be sick of Yushu at all. Yutian didn't expect his sister to make such a vow at such a young age. Could it be that what she said about the big wife and small wife was true? Was she really going to marry the same man as Meng Yaro? Isn't this a little too inconceivable? This wasn't in line with House Chen's interests. How could the daughter of House Chen be someone's small wife? How could Grandpa agree? Of course, if that man was very powerful and was the target of competition from the noble houses, then it was possible. But this kind of person was too rare. Even if there was one, would he be able to stand his sister? If he didn't enjoy the tenderness of a small wife, he would be tricked to death by the small wife. Chapter 634. Chapter 634. Kiss Shield Bro. Yutian was confused about Lin Yi's sudden appearance as Meng Yaro and Yushu's follower. He didn't know why. Was it someone else's arrangement? Someone purposely arranged for them to be together? Was it for Meng Yaro or Yushu? From a personal point of view, Yutian naturally hoped that his instructor and his sister could be together. That way, not only could he get closer to Lin Yi, but it would also benefit House Chen. Lin Yi was already at the peak of the middle phase of the golden class, and he was about to break through to the late phase of the golden class. Now, he was probably at the late phase of the golden class. At least, Yutian couldn't see through Lin Yi's true strength. Lin Yi's strength was like a phoenix's feather among the young generation of the noble houses. It wasn't impossible for his sister to marry him. Jian Wen, on the other hand, had a bigger headache. He didn't expect Yushu and Meng Yaro to agree to marry the same man when they were young. Wasn't this making things difficult for him? It seemed like he had to think of a way to expose Yushu and Meng Yaro. This was something he had to do. Otherwise, pursuing Meng Yaro would become an impossible mission. Let Yushu be a small wife. Jian Wen didn't dare to. First, he couldn't take it. He only had one heart. Even if he was the boss of an organ trafficking organization, if his heart exploded, he wouldn't be able to find a replacement. Even if he could find one, it would be long dead. Second, with Yushu's background and identity, he wouldn't be able to take it. House Chen aside, even Yutian wouldn't agree. Yushu's man in the future would either be a noble house's heir or a master. Alright, it's my turn. Yushu didn't care what the others were thinking. She quickly said to Meng Yaro, Yaro sis, it's finally my turn to ask you. I'm going to ask. Who was your first kiss? La la la, ha ha ha. Yushu couldn't help but laugh mischievously after asking the question. First kiss. Meng Yaro frowned. She suddenly thought of Lin Yi. One look at Yushu's sneaky smile, and Meng Yaro knew that Yushu was up to no good. Meng Yaro didn't want to answer, but she didn't want to drink either. She had drunk quite a lot earlier, and her head was still a little dizzy. I refuse to answer. I choose dare. Okay, Yaro, you're the second one to choose dare, I'm going to start. Yushu said excitedly, Yaro, I order you to kiss Shield Bro! Exclamation point. Meng Yaro glared at Yushu. I'm not going. Go ahead, you've already given your first kiss to Shield Bro anyway, another one won't be a big deal. Yushu said matter-of-factly. Shoo. Meng Yaro was pissed as she glared at Yushu. Are you done? You've gone too far. Oh, I don't think it's anything. Shield Bro kissed me too, I think it's normal. Yushu said. Jian Wen, who was sitting on the opposite side, frowned. Meng Yao's first kiss was Lin Yi. Was it real? But looking at Meng Yao's expression, she seemed to have admitted it. She didn't refute and only asked Shu if she was done. She even said that Shu was going too far. Thinking back to Yushu's question, asking who Meng Yao's first kiss was, Meng Yaro had rejected the question instead of saying no. This meant that Meng Yaro must have had her first kiss before, and she just didn't want to answer the question. Otherwise, she would have just said no. How straightforward would that be? Could it be that Meng Yaro and Lin Yi really had something going on? Jian Wen's face turned ugly. Then, he heard Yushu say that her first kiss was with Lin Yi as well. Could it be that the three of them lived under the same roof? Did something really happen? Jian Wen wanted to flip the table. He had reached a certain level of anger at this point. This Lin Yi stole what he was supposed to do and played him like a monkey. He said that he was giving him information, but the truth was that he was stealing from the young miss in the house. Jian Wen had the urge to kill Lin Yi. Chen Yutian was surprised as well. Lin Yi kissed his sister. He even kissed Meng Yaro. What was the relationship between the three of them? Was Lin Yi still a follower? Although Yutian was confused, he didn't think there was anything wrong with it. It was impossible for Pengzhan to not know that Lin Yi was by Meng Yao's side. Since Pengzhan didn't say anything, could there be something else going on? In fact, if his sister could marry Lin Yi, Chen Yutian wouldn't object. Instead, he would be happy. This was what he wanted. But now, Meng Yaro was added into the mix. As long as his sister was willing, Chen Yutian wouldn't say anything. All right, Shu, stop joking. Lin Yi saw that Meng Yaro was about to go berserk, and so he spoke up to help her out. This game is for you guys to play, I'm just a bystander, so Dare has nothing to do with me. Why don't you give Yaro Yaro a different type of adventure? All right, let's call it a day. Jian Wen couldn't hold it in anymore. He wanted to kill Lin Yi right now, but he didn't show it because of Chen Yutian and Tai Zhao. Still, he wouldn't eat at the same table with Lin Yi anymore. With that, Jian Wen stood up and left the room without looking back. Tai Zhao glanced at Chen Yutian but didn't say anything. He followed Jian Wen out. Chen Yutian sneered. The friendship between the 4 young masters of Songshan would be gone after today's dinner. What was left was Jian Wen and Tai Zhao's personal friendship. Chen Yutian still had things to do at night. He wanted to go back to the villa with Yushu and ask about Lin Yi, but he was afraid that Lin Yi would be unhappy. He thought about it and decided to let nature take its course. Since Lin Yi had become his sister's and Yaoiro's follower, there was no rush. At the entrance of the hotel, Chen Yutian parted ways with Yushu and Meng Yao. Before he left, he looked at Lin Yi with respect, but Lin Yi didn't even look at him. Instead, he acted like a follower, driving Meng Yao's Audi S5 over and waiting for them to get in. Chen Yutian had no choice. He waved at Yushu and left after telling her to take care of herself. He wanted to remind Lin Yi to be careful of Jian Wen. Jian Wen wasn't a generous person, and today's events made him lose face. He would definitely take revenge. But thinking about Lin Yi's strength and skills, his reminder was unnecessary. Chen Yutian shook his head and left.